Chapter 646. If it was unrequited love, she could still bear it. But now that Lu Yuan had accepted her, she couldn't wait to spend time with Lu Yuan every day. If she were to be separated from Lu Yuan for half a year, she would really want to cry. If Lu Yuan left, she would still have Zhu Zhuqing to accompany her, but she would have to be alone again. This punishment was a little heavy. It seemed that she really had to control her temper. You don't have any objections to this decision, right? Of course, even if you have objections, it's useless. It's decided. Lu Yuan waved his hand and said, "Well, you're my man. You have the final say." Ning Rongrong drooped her head and looked listless. Suddenly, she raised her head and stared at Lu Yuan and asked, "I want to know, can Zhu Zhuqing throw a tantrum in front of you?" Zhuqing's personality is very good. She never messes around, but occasionally she will throw a little tantrum. But she's cuter like that. Lu Yuan said. What about your other 3 girlfriends? Can they also throw a tantrum? Ning Rongrong asked. They have good personalities and rarely throw tantrums. But if they have their own personality, it's not impossible. Throwing a little tantrum is also acceptable. Then why can't I? Ning Rongrong bit her red lips and asked softly. You just can't. Lu Yuan said. I'm not convinced. You're targeting me. You're treating me differently. Ning Rongrong looked at Lu Yuan angrily. Yes, I'm targeting you. I'm treating you differently. Who told you to drug me? This is your punishment. Lu Yuan said lightly. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong, who was still angry, suddenly froze. She lowered her head guiltily. This was her fault. She had to take the blame. It seemed that in the future, among Lu Yuan's women, she would have the lowest status. Because of her improper means, she would be bullied to death with such an embarrassing incident. However, she didn't regret it. She was already satisfied that Lu Yuan accepted her. After a moment of silence, Ning Rongrong suddenly raised her head and asked, Abuchi, am I your girlfriend now? Yes. Lu Yuan nodded. Since he had decided to accept Ning Rongrong, she was naturally his girlfriend. Since I'm already your girlfriend, I have to exercise my rights as your girlfriend, Ning Rongrong said. Hearing this, before Lu Yuan could react, Ning Rongrong sealed his lips. Before Lu Yuan could resist, she pressed her body against his and pushed him onto the bed. At the same time, in room 612. Lu Yuan wasn't the only one who had taken Blue Elf. Other than Lu Yuan, there were also Liu Erlong and Fred. Because Lu Yuan had the Golden Dragon bloodline, his masculinity was extremely strong. In addition, he dried his hair and circulated his bloodline, so the effect of the drug took effect earlier. And now, it was Liu Erlong and Flender's turn. Liu Erlong had already drunk so much that she was staggering. When the effects of the drug kicked in, it was as if she had no resistance at all. She was lying on the bed, and in front of her was an illusion. In the illusion, a figure slowly appeared. Liu Erlong opened her eyes to look, wanting to see clearly. Finally, the figure completely appeared. It was a middle-aged man with an ordinary face, a rigid face, and a buzz cut. When Liu Erlong saw him, her body suddenly trembled. Her red lips opened slightly, and a faint voice came out, Xiao Gang. Liu Erlong couldn't help but reach out her right hand, wanting to touch the face of the figure, but the figure walked further and further back. He turned around and ran away. Xiao Gang, don't go. This time, I won't let you run away. Even when she fell into the illusion, what she saw was what she thought. Yu Xiaogang had hidden from Liu Erlong for 20 years, so when the drug took effect and she fell into the illusion, Liu Erlong saw a similar scene. Seeing Yu Xiaogang turn around and run in her sight, Liu Erlong quickly got up and chased after the figure. Click! The door was opened, and Liu Erlong rushed out of her room. At the same time, in Liu Erlong's sight, Yu Xiaogang was still running in the opposite direction. Liu Erlong quickly chased after him. Liu Erlong's room was opposite Flender's room, and what was more coincidental was that Lu Yuan didn't close the door when he sent Flender back to his room. So Liu Erlong directly rushed into Flender's room. Right now, Flender was in the same state as Liu Erlong. He had also fallen into the illusion. He had drunk too much wine, and was already groggy. In addition, the drug was very strong, and even these two soul sages couldn't resist it. After all, they weren't like Lu Yuan, who had the clear aura scripture and the clear aura divine power to dispel the illusion. Lu Yuan had a hard time resisting it, not because the drug was strong, but because of his bloodline. The Golden Dragon's bloodline was very masculine, and it was very easy for such things to happen. In addition, his bloodline was on the verge of a breakthrough, and it was very difficult to control. In addition to the drug, Lu Yuan was in a lot of pain. Otherwise, the drug alone wouldn't have had much effect on Lu Yuan. However, Flender and the others didn't have the clear aura scripture, so they were already deeply trapped in the illusion. Erlong. A voluptuous woman in a green robe appeared in front of Flender. She looked like Liu Erlong. In addition, the drug in his body was constantly being stimulated. After the drug's effect appeared, Flender couldn't help but stand up when he saw Liu Erlong's figure. He reached out his hand and wanted to touch her face. Xiaogang, I've caught you. Let's see where you can run to this time. In Liu Erlong's vision, she was finally very close to Yu Xiaogang. She suddenly reached out and hugged Yu Xiaogang. In Flender's eyes, it was his Erlong. She hugged him with a smile on her face, and her eyes were full of affection. Therefore, he couldn't help but reach out and hug Liu Erlong tightly. Xiaogang, I must make you stay today. I won't let you leave me again. The two of them hugged each other, and their auras became the best catalyst. The hidden drugs effect was finally completely stimulated. A good show was slowly unfolding in room 617. They returned to room 601 again. Lu Yuan pushed Ning Rongrong away. His eyes were red, and his breathing was heavy. It was obvious that the clear aura scripture and the clear aura divine powers suppression had reached the final limit. Rongrong, leave quickly. I can't control myself. Lu Yuan looked at Ning Rongrong and growled. Chapter 647. I'm not leaving. I was the one who started the fire. I have to take responsibility. Abuchi, take me. Ning Rongrong stepped forward and threw herself into Lu Yuan's arms. She reached out and untied Lu Yuan's bathrobe. Don't. Lu Yuan grabbed Ning Rongrong's hand and pushed it away. He absolutely could not touch Ning Rongrong now. Otherwise, Zhu Zhuqing and Jiyu Yuana would definitely explode when they found out. Originally, Ning Rongrong would definitely be ostracized by them after drugging him. If Ning Rongrong snatched this matter before them, the two of them would definitely have complaints. At that time, it would really be difficult for Ning Rongrong to integrate into them. But you're in pain. If I don't help you, who will? Ning Rongrong said. I can help him. As soon as Ning Rongrong's voice fell, a cold voice rang out. Zhu Zhuqing, who had been sleeping soundly, actually woke up. Zhuqing, weren't you drunk? When did you wake up? Seeing that Zhu Zhuqing had woken up, Ning Rongrong's face suddenly revealed a look of surprise. She could not help but ask softly. I woke up when he said that he accepted you. Ning Rongrong, you actually dared to drug him. You're so capable. Looking at Ning Rongrong, Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face was cold and expressionless. It was as if a layer of frost had enveloped her. Zhuqing, I. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's cold eyes, Ning Rongrong opened her mouth and did not know what to say for a moment. You what? Let me tell you, he is a person with a strong sense of responsibility. If he sees someone else's body, he will take responsibility. So you deliberately set him up, right? You drugged him and deliberately made me drunk. Where did you get the guts to do that? Zhu Zhuqing's tone carried a trace of anger. Zhuqing, I was wrong, but I really love him. I don't have any other bad intentions. I just want to be with him. Facing Zhu Zhuqing's accusation, Ning Rongrong hurriedly explained. You can use this kind of method just because you love him? There are many people who love him. He doesn't lack you. If you love him, you can pursue him openly. Even in private, I can help you. But why do you have to go down this crooked path? Zhu Zhuqing said sternly. It's my fault, Zhuqing. I've let you down. Please beat me up to vent your anger. Ning Rongrong lowered her head and said apologetically. Pa. A resounding slap sounded. Zhu Zhuqing's jade-like hand left a conspicuous palm print on Ning Rongrong's face. Lu Yuan and Ning Rongrong couldn't help but be stunned. They didn't expect Zhu Zhuqing to actually make a move. Zhu Zhuqing did not hold back at all in this slap. Ning Rongrong's snow-white face swelled up, and the red handprint was extremely conspicuous. Even the corner of her mouth had a trace of blood. Zhuqing, you. Lu Yuan couldn't help but speak. However, before he could finish, he was interrupted by Zhu Zhuqing. It's none of your business. Just watch. I know you're soft-hearted and can't bear to hit her, but she must be punished for what she did to you. Since you can't bear to hit her, then I'll help you and teach her a lesson. I'll let her know what she should and shouldn't do in the future. You should know that my temper is pretty good. If your share and the others know about what happened today, Ning Rongrong will only be in an even worse state. I won't tell anyone about what happened today. Otherwise, even if you accept her, she won't be able to stay by your side because your other 3 women won't allow it. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan and said softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan fell silent for a moment and nodded. If Chihiro Snow and Jiu Yuana knew about what happened today, Ning Rongrong would really suffer. But Ning Rongrong, you have to remember that from now on, you'd better understand your own identity. Don't do anything stupid. Don't think that the identity of the little princess of the 7 treasures glazed sect is so noble. I can't compare to you, but the other 3's identities are far above yours. They won't be as easy to talk to as I am. If you get into a fight with them, Abuchi will definitely not give up on them, but only you. Since you're the last to come, you have to be mentally prepared to be the smallest. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Ning Rongrong and said indifferently, I know. Ning Rongrong nodded her little head lightly as tears fell from her eyes. Sigh. Looking at Ning Rongrong's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh. He gently stroked Ning Rongrong's swollen face, and a white light surged in his hand. Soon, the swollen face quickly recovered, and the red palm print completely disappeared. The clear qi divine power was indeed miraculous in healing. However, in this way, Lu Yuan had exhausted the clear qi divine power again. He had really reached the limit of his endurance. Seeing this scene, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed with anxiety. If he continued to endure like this, it would definitely be very harmful to Lu Yuan's body. She turned slightly and looked at Ning Rongrong, saying, Are you still not going out? My clothes are all gone. How can I go out? Ning Rongrong shook her head and said. She could be said to be naked now. How could she go out? And most importantly, she didn't want to go out. Then turn your body around. Zhu Zhuqing bit her red lips and spat out these words. Oh, okay then. Ning Rongrong replied and turned around. Seeing this, Zhu Zhuqing turned her head and looked at Lu Yuan with eyes full of affection. Zhuqing, it's been hard on you. I originally said until the 16th, but it seems that I have to go back on my words. Lu Yuan's eyes were red as he struggled to say. It's not hard on you. It's not your fault. You were also forced. Moreover, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Zhu Zhuqing said as she took off her clothes. Then, she slowly lowered her body. At this moment, Ning Rongrong, who had been facing away, suddenly turned around. She opened her big sapphire-like eyes and looked carefully. The next day, early morning, Lu Yuan slowly opened his eyes. There was a flash of light in his double pupils. Zhu Zhuqing curled up in his arms. There were traces of tears at the corner of her eyes, and there was a touch of red on her beautiful face. Last night, she was really tired. Lu Yuan, who had been drugged, was terrifying to the extreme. Fortunately, Zhu Zhuqing still had the esoteric character on her and could quickly recover. To be honest, this was the first time Lu Yuan praised from the bottom of his heart. The esoteric character was really magical. Gently stroking Zhu Zhuqing's long black hair, Lu Yuan's eyes emitted a touch of gentleness. From today onwards, he had another intimate person. Gently kissing Zhu Zhuqing's forehead, Lu Yuan's gaze turned to his left. There, Ning Rongrong was sleeping soundly. Chapter 648. Looking at Ning Rongrong's sleeping posture, Lu Yuan couldn't help but shake his head. This is another person like Hulena, who doesn't sleep well. No matter how you look at her sleeping posture, it's not ladylike at all. Ning Rongrong usually has an obedient appearance and is very sweet when she smiles, but once she falls asleep, her nature is revealed. Alas, look at Zhu Qing, how quiet and honest she is when she sleeps. Really, without comparison, there is no harm. Lu Yuan said with a sigh. Gently letting go of Zhu Qing without waking her up, Lu Yuan turned around slightly, pulled up the quilt and covered Ning Rongrong with it. This girl doesn't sleep well and kicked the quilt away, exposing half of her snow-white body. She's not afraid of catching a cold. Looking at Ning Rongrong's sleeping face, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. This girl looked at him and Zhu Qing without blinking last night and also fell asleep in the middle of the night. Now she's still sleeping soundly. Really daring. Pinching Ning Rongrong's little face, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh softly. His eyes were a bit absent-minded. Now he's really going further and further on the path of a scumbag. He's stepping on 5 boats. This is really amazing. But fortunately, Chihiro Snow and the others know about Ning Rongrong's matter and have all agreed. Otherwise, it's really difficult to handle. Moreover, Jiu Yuena has always been brooding about the fact that she's the youngest. Now that she's not the youngest, she should feel better in her heart. Lu Yuan secretly thought. What are you thinking about? Abuchi? Lu Yuan was thinking when suddenly a hot and tender body was in his arms. A charming face appeared in front of him and a warm breath blew on his face. He focused his eyes and saw that it was Ning Rongrong. Awake? Lu Yuan asked softly. Ian, I woke up when you pinched my face. Ning Rongrong whispered. It seems that I woke you up. I'm sorry. If you haven't slept enough, then you can sleep a little longer. Anyway, I have nothing to do today. Lu Yuan stroked Ning Rongrong's face and looked at her tenderly. Looking at the gentleness in Lu Yuan's eyes, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but stare blankly. As she stared, drops of tears actually fell from her eyes. Why are you crying? Did I offend you? Raising his hand to wipe the tears on Ning Rongrong's cheeks, Lu Yuan asked with some doubts. No, I'm happy. Abuchi, do you know? The thing I yearned for the most in the past was for you to look at me with such gentle and loving eyes. However, all you gave me before was disregard. But now, I can finally enjoy the look in your eyes. It's very comfortable. There's a sweetness that comes from the bottom of my heart, Ning Rongrong said with a smile. Sigh, you silly girl. Hearing Ning Rongrong's words, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh. He gently kissed Ning Rongrong's forehead. Looking at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan's eyes had a trace of tenderness. In the past, you and I didn't have any relationship. Naturally, I wouldn't be too close to you. But now, you're my woman. I will definitely spoil my own woman. As long as you don't cause trouble and throw your little demoness temper, I will spoil you for the rest of my life. Really? Abuchi? Ning Rongrong blinked her ice blue eyes. Her eyes were filled with anticipation. Of course it's true. Zhu Qing is also my woman. Do you think I don't treat her well? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. No, you treat her very well. Before, I was very envious that she could receive your love. But now, I don't envy her. I can also be with you and enjoy your care and love, Ning Rongrong said with a smile. Hearing this, Lu Yuan faintly smiled. His chin lightly rested on Ning Rongrong's forehead. His hands wrapped around Ning Rongrong's waist and pulled her into his embrace. Ning Rongrong also narrowed her eyes and enjoyed Lu Yuan's warm embrace. Room 617. The door was still wide open. Fortunately, most of the guests were dead drunk last night and had yet to wake up. Lu Yuan had also instructed the attendants not to go up to the 6th floor for no reason. Otherwise, there would be a lot of things that would be seen by many people. Flender opened his eyes and looked at Liu Erlong, who was tightly hugging him. Looking at the dazzling blood-red plum blossom on the bedsheet, he couldn't help but be shocked. Could it be that when he saw Sister Erlong hugging him last night, it wasn't because he was drunk and dreaming? Was it real? This time, Flender's heart was completely flustered. Looking at Liu Erlong's beautiful face, Flender's eyes were filled with tenderness and love. He loved this woman very much, but he was more afraid that this woman would hate him because he knew that Liu Erlong still hadn't let go of Yu Xiaogang. Could it be that I was drunk and went to Erlong's room in a daze and did this kind of thing? Flender thought in his heart and quickly looked around. The surroundings were very familiar. This was obviously his room. He didn't go to the wrong room. So, Liu Erlong went to the wrong room and came to his room? So, most of the fault wasn't on him. Thinking of this, Flender couldn't help but sigh in relief. This was good, this was good. Otherwise, he really wouldn't have the face to see Liu Erlong again. However, if Erlong knew about this, she would probably be very sad. She might not be able to accept it. However, looking at Liu Erlong in his arms, Flender made up his mind. Since they had already had sex, then he wouldn't let go. He would definitely be responsible for Liu Erlong. 20 years ago, he gave Liu Erlong to Yu Xiaogang because Liu Erlong liked Yu Xiaogang at that time, so he withdrew from the competition. At that time, Liu Erlong and he already had an established fact, which meant that Liu Erlong was already his. He couldn't give his woman away again. Moreover, Yu Xiaogang hadn't seen Liu Erlong for more than 20 years, which made her suffer. So, let me give Erlong happiness. Maybe Liu Erlong still couldn't forget Yu Xiaogang, but he wouldn't give up. He would always be with Liu Erlong until the day she could let go of Yu Xiaogang. Sincerity could move metal and stone. He believed that one day, Liu Erlong would accept him. Flender said to himself in his heart. Flender was thinking in his heart. On this side, Liu Erlong also slowly woke up. Looking at Flender's face, she was a little confused at first. She thought that she had seen wrongly, so she quickly raised her hand and rubbed her eyes. After rubbing for a while, Liu Erlong opened her eyes again. The figure in front of her was still Flender. Liu Erlong looked at herself blankly and realized that both she and Flender were naked. She looked at the bright plum blossoms on the bedsheet and felt the sharp pain coming from her body. In an instant, she understood everything. She didn't yell. She just broke away from Flender's arms and slapped him. Slap. Instantly, a resounding slap resounded in room 617. Chapter 649. In room 601, Abuchi, what do you think of my figure? Ning Rongrong swayed her naked body in front of Lu Yuan with a playful look on her face. Although she didn't succeed in doing that thing with Lu Yuan last night, at least her relationship with Lu Yuan was confirmed, so at this moment, she was particularly happy in her heart. She had been in love with Lu Yuan for 4 years. Now that she had finally gotten him, her heart was filled with satisfaction. Therefore, she hoped that she could be intimate with Lu Yuan for a while longer. This was the purest thought in her heart right now. Hearing Ning Rongrong's voice and looking at Ning Rongrong's delicate body, Lu Yuan couldn't help but have a black line on his forehead. Stop fooling around, Rongrong, what do you think you look like by jumping around naked? You see, Zhu Qing is laughing at you. Lu Yuan said softly. It's okay, I don't care about Zhu Qing's laughter, and I'm in front of you. You're my man, so what if you look at me? I'm not showing it to others. By the way, you haven't said what my figure is like. Ning Rongrong asked. Hearing this, the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched slightly. In front of Zhu Qing, you still have the nerve to ask this. Where did you get your confidence from? Zhu Qing's eyes also revealed a trace of strangeness. She gently glanced in front of Ning Rongrong, her eyes indifferent. Standing next to Ning Rongrong, she suddenly felt very confident. Abuchi, say it. Ning Rongrong ran in front of Lu Yuan, pulled Lu Yuan's hand and shook it non-stop. All right. Lu Yuan had no choice but to make his own comments since he was forced to this extent. He carefully looked at Ning Rongrong from head to toe and said, her waist is slender and can be held with one hand. Her skin is white and smooth, and her legs are long and slender. She is neither fat nor thin. Overall, she is not bad. Hearing Lu Yuan's comments, Ning Rongrong smiled sweetly. She was quite satisfied with this comment. However, as he spoke, Lu Yuan's tone changed. But what? Ning Rongrong asked quickly. But you have to eat more papaya, Lu Yuan said softly. Eat more papaya. What do you mean? Ning Rongrong asked with some doubts. It means that you are too young. Eat more papayas and you will grow faster. Zhu Zhuqing cast her eyes on Ning Rongrong without hesitation. Ning Rongrong looked down and instantly understood the meaning of eating more papayas. Lu Yuan despised her for being too small. Was she very young? She was already considered pretty good among her peers. But when she glanced at Zhu Zhuqing, she was stunned. All right, she was indeed very young. Sob sob, so Abuchi likes big ones. Ning Rongrong complained in her heart. She glanced at Zhu Zhuqing. She decided to learn from Zhu Zhuqing in private and see how she grew up. After a series of actions, Lu Yuan was dressed neatly. He was still wearing a white robe made of cloud silk, but this simple and plain white style was particularly compatible with Lu Yuan. When he wore it, he looked outstanding and elegant, causing the two little beauties beside him to be a little stunned. All right, don't be stunned. Hurry up and put on your clothes. It's getting late. We should go out. Looking at the two of them, Lu Yuan smiled and said, Okay. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly and started to put on her clothes. Abuchi, I don't have any clothes to wear. What should I do? Ning Rongrong said bitterly. Who are you lying to? You said that because you didn't want to go out last night. Hurry up and take out your clothes from your soul tool. If you lie again, I'll spank you. Lu Yuan glared at Ning Rongrong and said angrily. Hehe, I really can't hide anything from you. Ning Rongrong chuckled and stopped fooling around. Light flashed in her hands, and a light yellow dress appeared in her hands. She started to put it on. Creak. The door was pushed open, and 3 figures walked out. It was Lu Yuan and the other 2, who had finished washing up. It seems like no one is awake. Ning Rongrong said softly. They were all drunk last night. It's normal that they didn't wake up. It's still early. It should be just past 7 in the morning. Lu Yuan said gently. 7 in the morning was between 7 and 9 in the morning. It was just past 9 in the morning. At this time, those who were drunk were definitely still sleeping soundly. Wang Qiu, who wasn't drunk, was someone who liked to laze in bed. She wouldn't wake up until 10 in the morning. As her beloved brother, Lu Yuan understood this very well. Zhuqing, Rongrong, let's go to the restaurant to eat. You must be hungry. Lu Yuan said gently. Okay, you can decide. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Abuchi, I'll listen to you. Ning Rongrong had an obedient look on her face. When he saw this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. He pinched Ning Rongrong's little face. Ning Rongrong's obedient look was not bad. She was quite likable. He hoped that she could keep it up. Let's go then. Lu Yuan and the other 2 were about to walk towards the restaurant with one in each hand. Suddenly, a scene in the distance attracted their attention. Lu Yuan and the others were in front of room 601. They looked over and saw a figure sneaking out from a room in the middle of the corridor. After that, the figure quickly entered the room opposite. The entire process was very fast. If not for the fact that Lu Yuan and the other 2 were soul masters and had good eyesight, they might not have noticed it. Zhuqing, Rongrong, did you see that figure just now? Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask as he looked at the 2 of them. I saw it, but I couldn't see it clearly. It was a little fast. Ning Rongrong said. I saw it too. It seemed to be a woman. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Her soul power was higher than Ning Rongrong's, and she was also a soul warrior, so her eyesight was better. Therefore, even though the figure was fast, she could still see that it was a woman. It's Dean Liu Erlong. She should have come out from Dean Flender's room. At this distance, it just happens to be room 617. Also, Dean Erlong seemed a little disheveled just now. Could it be? Lu Yuan's voice suddenly paused as a thought arose in his mind. Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong looked at each other and instantly understood what was going on. Could it be that Dean Liu Erlong and Dean Flender are together? Zhu Zhuqing asked in surprise. I don't think so. Something happened. Don't forget, they also drank the bottle of Blue Elf. Lu Yuan said as he looked at Ning Rongrong with a smile that was not a smile. Chapter 650. So, after hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing also thought of something. So this is Rongrong's fault again. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Ah, it's my fault again. Ning Rongrong opened her mouth and said dejectedly. Otherwise, if it's not your fault, then is it our fault? If you didn't add something to the wine, would this have happened? Lu Yuan said plainly. That's true. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong stuck out her tongue and lowered her head in embarrassment. Lu Yuan was right. If this matter was really investigated, it was indeed her fault. But there's something strange. I saw the two of them return to their rooms. How could Dean Liu Erlong run into Dean Flender's room? Even if Dean Liu Erlong entered the illusory realm and saw something that opened the door to her room, she couldn't have entered Dean Flender's room. She wasn't like Rongrong, who had prepared a lock-picking soul tool beforehand. Lu Yuan touched his chin and said doubtfully. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong's face turned red. Thinking of her own actions, although she was fearless and didn't regret it now, she couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Abuchi would probably remember what she did for the rest of his life. But this was also good. At least she left an unforgettable impression on Abuchi, right? Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong suddenly became happy. She was the kind of optimistic person who liked to think about things in a positive way. Thinking of this, her face was full of smiles again. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Ning Rongrong was thinking. He was still thinking about why Liu Erlong ran into Flender's room. Lu Yuan thought carefully. Suddenly, a detail that he didn't notice before appeared in his mind. Thinking of this, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. His expression also became a little strange. What's wrong, Abuchi? What did you think of? Looking at Lu Yuan's expression, Zhu Zhuqing, who knew him well, instantly knew that Lu Yuan must have thought of something. Upon hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but turn around and look at Lu Yuan curiously. She also wanted to know what was going on. Facing the curious gazes of the two women, Lu Yuan smiled bitterly and said, if I remember correctly, the reason why Vice President Erlong was able to enter Dean Flender's room unimpeded was because I was so focused on leaving with Zhuqing yesterday that I forgot to close the door to Dean Flender's room. So you had a part to play in this. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong was stunned at first, and then she was instantly overjoyed. Very good, it was not only her fault, but also Lu Yuan. Although being a scapegoat was a very bitter thing, it would be different if she had Lu Yuan with her. As long as she could be with Lu Yuan, anything was worth being happy about. This was Ning Rongrong's idea, a typical bootlicker. But fortunately, she was able to lick it. It's true that I had a part to play, but the culprit is still you. If you didn't add those things, nothing would have happened. I don't know if Dean Flender and the others would have realized that they were drugged, but I don't think so. After all, they were almost drunk at that time, so they shouldn't have any awareness. Even if these things happened, they should only think that they were drunk, and it was a freak combination of factors. After all, they were not like me, who was sober at that time, so they could sense that something was wrong. But this is also good. If you really let them know that this happened because of you, Rongrong, I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble to deal with, and the relationship between you and them will definitely worsen. Thus, it will also affect the relationship between them and me and the Heavenly Star Academy. After all, you are now my person, and I must be responsible for this. Lu Yuan said with a sigh. Abuchi, I'm sorry, I caused trouble for you. Ning Rongrong took Lu Yuan's hand and said with an apologetic look. It's good that you know, just be obedient in the future. Holding Ning Rongrong's jade hand, Lu Yuan said softly. Well, I will be obedient. Ning Rongrong nodded her small head lightly, with an obedient look on her face. But there are mistakes. If Dean Flender and Dean Liu Erlong can come together because of this, then it is indeed a good thing. After all, Dean Liu Erlong has been waiting for Yu Xiaogang alone for 20 years. Even if she continues to wait, I'm afraid there won't be any results. Moreover, in terms of love for Dean Liu Erlong, there are very few people in the world who can compare with Dean Flender. He has really been infatuated with Dean Liu Erlong for more than 20 years, and it can be said that his feelings are really deep. If Dean Liu Erlong is together with him, it can be expected that his love and care are absolutely indispensable. She will definitely be able to obtain her own happiness for the rest of her life. However, the biggest problem now is that Dean Liu Erlong slowly forgets about Yu Xiaogang, and at the same time realizes how good Dean Flender is. Only in this way will she be able to accept Dean Flender, and the two can finally come together. Lu Yuan said softly. Then what should we do? Should we go and persuade Dean Liu Erlong now? Ning Rongrong asked. No, there is no need to be overly hasty. Even if Dean Liu Erlong is an extraordinary woman, it will definitely be very difficult for her to accept something like this happening all of a sudden. She definitely doesn't want to see anyone right now. Only when her emotions have stabilized a bit can we properly persuade her, and also indirectly put in some good words for Dean Flender. Good girls are afraid of pestering men. As long as Headmaster Flender takes the initiative, and with our help, I think there will be a day when Headmaster Liu Erlong will accept Headmaster Flender. After all, she is not a cold-hearted person. On the contrary, she is very soft and pure. It's just that it will take a long time. However, I think Dean Flender won't mind waiting for a long time. After all, he has waited for a full 20 years. He is definitely very patient. Unlike a certain girl who couldn't hold back after waiting for 4 years and directly drugged him. With that, Lu Yuan glared at Ning Rongrong again. Suddenly, Ning Rongrong's eyes fluttered, and she was somewhat embarrassed to look at Lu Yuan. Then, Abuchi, what should we do now? Zhu Zhuqing asked. Let's go eat first. After a while, I will go find Dean Flender and talk about these things. These things can't be rushed. Let's take it slowly. Moreover, someone has to go to the lottery for tomorrow's competition. Dean Liu Erlong definitely won't be able to go, so I have to go there myself. Lu Yuan said softly. Chapter 651. Dong dong dong. Outside room 617, there was a knock on the door. After breakfast, Lu Yuan separated from the two women. The two women returned to room 601, and Lu Yuan went directly to Flender's door. As he had said before, he wanted to have a good talk with Flender, and help to facilitate this marriage. After all, Ning Rongrong was the one who had caused all this trouble, and Ning Rongrong was now his woman. Therefore, he had to help solve these problems. After all, if he didn't take responsibility for what his woman did, who would take responsibility for it? And from the bottom of his heart, he also hoped that Liu Erlong and Flender, these two people who had some friendship with him, could both obtain their own happiness. When the door was knocked, Flender, who was sitting in the room, was instantly alarmed. After such a thing happened, his heart was also a bit complicated. He told the whole story, and Liu Erlong also knew that she came to the wrong door. In fact, she couldn't blame Flender. However, Liu Erlong's heart still found it hard to accept. After all, she still loved Yu Xiaogang. In fact, Liu Erlong's heart was also very complicated. She was also a very traditional woman who valued her reputation very much. According to common sense, since such a thing happened, being with Flender was her only choice. But the problem was that she still had Yu Xiaogang in her heart, so if Liu Erlong wanted to marry Flender, the first thing was to let her forget Yu Xiaogang. There were only two ways. One was to move her with his actions and let her know that Flender was good to her, so that she would slowly fall in love with Flender. After all, falling in love with a new man was the best way to forget an old man. The other was to reduce Yu Xiaogang's impression in Liu Erlong's heart, so that Liu Erlong could fully understand what kind of person she loved and whether he was worthy of her love. For example, Bibidon, let her fully understand the true face of Yu Xiaogang. When her heart was hurt, she would naturally wake up. In Lu Yuan's opinion, these two methods could actually be carried out at the same time. Naturally, Lu Yuan came to look for Flender because of the first point. Presumably, Flender was also very anxious now. Lu Yuan thought to himself. Hearing the knock on the door, Flender hurriedly tidied up the things in the room, especially the sheet with the blood plum blossom printed on it. Flender solemnly put it away. This thing had a special meaning, so he had to treasure it well. After tidying up, Flender opened the door. Lu Yuan, it's you. Flender opened the door and took a look. It turned out that it was Lu Yuan. He couldn't help but be surprised. Is something the matter? Lu Yuan? Flender asked. I have something to discuss with you, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Really? Come in quickly. Flender stretched out his hand and said softly. Lu Yuan nodded, walked into the room, and sat down on the sofa. And Flender was sitting right across from him. President Flender, why is your face red? Did someone slap you? Looking at Flender's red face with a shallow palm print on it, Lu Yuan naturally knew what was going on in an instant. He must have been slapped by Liu Erlong. No, I pressed my face when I was sleeping at night, so it's red. Flender quickly explained. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly. Pressing your face to make a palm print, who can this lie deceive? It really doesn't require any skill. By the way, what do you want to talk to me about? In order to avoid being discovered, Flender decisively changed the subject. There are some things I want to talk to President Flender about. Lu Yuan said softly. What's the matter? Just say it, Flender said. Here's the thing. I saw Vice President Erlong leave your room in a disheveled state this morning. He had a pained expression on his face, and there were traces of tears on his face. Did you do something to him? Lu Yuan asked softly as he looked at Flender with an intense gaze. Hearing this, Flender was shocked and his face turned pale. If the matter between him and Erlong was known by others, it would be terrible. He didn't care, but he was afraid that Erlong would take things too hard. Therefore, he quickly denied it and said, No, I didn't do anything to her. It's just that Erlong was in a bad mood, so I comforted her. Comforted her? Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, That can't be right. President Erlong was clearly bullied by others, and the palm print on your face hasn't disappeared yet. In addition, there seems to be a strange smell in your room. Although I'm not talented, I still know what this smell is. So, President Flender, don't you plan to be honest? Don't worry, I'll definitely keep this matter a secret. I won't spread it around. So far, only me, Zhuqing, and Rongrong know. I promise that I won't tell anyone else, so there's no need for you to worry. You can just admit it. After all, I'm a man. Since I've already done it, I might as well say it openly. More importantly, you've already done it. Are you not going to take responsibility? Lu Yuan said as he looked at Flender. Sigh. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Flender let out a soft sigh and told him everything that he knew. Sure enough, as Lu Yuan expected, Flender and Liu Erlong, who were drunk last night, did not realize that it was the effect of the drug. Instead, they thought that it was a mistake due to a combination of factors, which made Lu Yuan feel relieved. He really was afraid that this matter would be exposed and affect their relationship. However, since this matter was Ning Rongrong's fault, he would take responsibility for it. He would pair Flender and Liu Erlong together and let them live happily for the rest of their lives. It could be considered as making up for Ning Rongrong's mistake. So that's how it is. I knew you weren't the kind of person who would take advantage of others. However, even if President Liu Erlong walked into the wrong room, since it has already happened, President Flender, you should take responsibility as a man, Lu Yuan said. Of course. I've already decided that I'll stay by Erlong's side for the rest of my life and use my heart to influence her. I won't force her. I'll wait until she accepts me, Flender said. Very good. I originally wanted to persuade you to take responsibility. I didn't expect your realm to be so high. It seems that I was overthinking. Lu Yuan chuckled softly. Alas, I've let Erlong down. However, as a man, since we already have a relationship, I'll definitely take responsibility. Otherwise, wouldn't I be scum? Flender said. Chapter 652. President Flender, you're right. If you don't take responsibility after having a relationship, you'll be a complete scumbag. Lu Yuan said softly and then asked, since you want to take responsibility, do you have any corresponding way to please President Erlong and make her accept you quickly? Well, I really don't. The only thing I can think of is to accompany her all the time. Flender scratched his head and said. Well, no wonder you lost to Yu Xiaogang back then and failed to win President Erlong's favor. After all, although Yu Xiaogang's strength is poor, he knows how to put on airs and show off how awesome he is. He also knows how to say that those little girls like that. President, you're greedy and stingy, and you don't know how to put on airs. No wonder President Erlong didn't take a fancy to you back then. If you knew a little bit about picking up girls, maybe President Erlong would have left with you back then. Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Flender's face stiffened, but he didn't refute. Indeed, his image back then wasn't very good. His stingy and greedy image had probably been deeply ingrained in Erlong's heart. After all, which woman would like a stingy man? Therefore, if one wanted to pursue a woman under normal circumstances, one either had to be good at talking and good at flirting, or use money to open the way and conquer her directly. Unfortunately, Flender didn't have either of these. Then why don't you teach me a trick or two about picking up girls? You have so many girlfriends. You should be very good at flirting. Flender looked straight at Lu Yuan. In order to pursue Liu Erlong, he didn't care about his face and directly asked without shame. I'm afraid you won't be able to learn my flirting skills. Looking at Flender, Lu Yuan shook his head and said, You haven't said it yet. How do you know I won't be able to learn it? Come on, tell me. Zhu Qing and Rongrong are so loyal to you. Is there a secret? As long as you tell me and help me pursue Erlong, I'll work for you for the rest of my life. I'll say it. Flender said. Are you sure you want to hear it? Lu Yuan asked. Of course, come on, tell me. Flender urged. My pickup skills can be summarized in 2 words, Lu Yuan said. What 2 words? Flender's interest was piqued by Lu Yuan's words. One is handsome, the other is strong. If you were as handsome as me, you wouldn't have needed to do anything and the Twin Dragon Chief would have followed you. After all, she's a woman, and the first thing she looks at is appearance. Yu Xiaogang is from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. Even if he's not handsome, he's definitely better than you. Comparing the two, the Twin Dragon Chief would definitely have a better impression of the handsome one. The other reason is that I'm strong. My strength far surpasses my peers. Basically, I can't find an opponent. People worship the strong, especially women. They worship strong men even more. And worship can easily turn into adoration. It's just like how beauties love heroes. So, you're asking me how to pick up girls. Actually, it's equivalent to asking for nothing. Other than my first girlfriend, whom I chased, I basically haven't picked up any girls. Because I'm too outstanding, there are always girls coming to pick me up. I basically don't have to put in much effort. Lu Yuan spread out his hands and said. Hearing this, the corner of Flender's mouth couldn't help but twitch. His expression was a little stiff. From Lu Yuan's words, he felt a deep sense of malice. F***ck, I'm asking you how to pick up girls, and you're telling me this. Is this what I want to hear? And what's with the pride in your words? You know that I'm an old bachelor, yet you still have the nerve to show off in front of me. Do you have any sense of civility? Flender felt like cursing a dog in his heart. Then, since you chased your first girlfriend, how did you do it? However, Flender didn't have time to care about this. He noticed Lu Yuan's words and couldn't help but ask. It's very simple. My first girlfriend was a person who was extremely lacking in love, so I accompanied her for a year regardless of rain or shine. I was also beaten by her for a year. I cared about her and cherished her. After a year, she naturally had my figure in her heart. Then, I finally stole a kiss from her and it was done. Lu Yuan said. It's that simple. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Flender couldn't believe it. When did it become so simple to chase a girl? Otherwise, how difficult do you think it is? But although I said it's simple, picking up girls depends on personal charm. I'm very charming, so it's simple. As for you, I'm afraid it's a bit difficult. Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. Hearing this, Flender's face turned black. F***ck, isn't this just touching a sore spot? Then what should I do? Flender asked. Go and read some love guides or something. It should be there. Besides, Zhu Qing, Rongrong, and I will cover for you. We will put in a good word for you in front of the Twin Dragon Academy's president. As long as you persevere and with our persuasion, maybe one day the Twin Dragon Academy's president will be soft-hearted and accept you. By the way, you don't have to worry about not being clever enough in picking up girls. You will become a joke or something. Little girls like romantic and emotional things, so you need clever means to pick up girls. It's easier to please them this way. A woman like the Twin Dragon Academy's president who has been hurt before will not be so superficial. She cares more about sincerity, so as long as you throw away your face, pester her, and move her with your sincerity, you will succeed sooner or later. Lu Yuan said. Really? Flenda asked. Of course it's true, so you have to work hard. You have to let the Twin Dragon Academy's president see your actions and prove that you really love her and will treat her well for the rest of your life. It's good to accompany her bitterly, but the effect will be a bit slow. If you take the initiative, the effect will undoubtedly be better. Come on, we will all help you. Lu Yuan encouraged Flenda. Well, I will. As long as I can get the Twin Dragon Academy's president, I will throw away my face. Flenda said, looking as if he was facing death with equanimity. It's settled then. Then I will go back first. Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. Well, I'll see you off. Flanders stood up. No, it's not that far. I can go back by myself. You can stay here. You can read more books about picking up girls. It should be good for you. Lu Yuan waved his hand and said. Then take care. Flenda said softly as he looked at Lu Yuan who had already walked to the door. Okay, got it. Lu Yuan responded and then directly left the room. Looking at Lu Yuan's back, Flenda was stunned at first, then he looked at the closed door of room 612 with a trace of determination on his face. Sister Twin Dragon, I will not give up. I will definitely move you with my actions. I will give you everything that Xiao Gang can't give you. Flenda said in a serious voice. Chapter 653. Room 601. Pushing open the door, Lu Yuan walked in. In the room, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing were sitting on the sofa, doing their own things. Zhu Zhuqing was practicing her knitting skills. She had never touched these things before, but after what happened last night, she suddenly became interested in these things. She even specially went to the Holy Light Hotel to look for books in this area and studied alone. No one knew what she was thinking about. Ning Rongrong was holding Lu Yuan's book about his new self-created soul skill and flipping through it with relish. It was only a very abstract concept and idea. With Ning Rongrong as an auxiliary-type soul master, would she be able to understand it? Lu Yuan expressed his doubts. You're back. As soon as Lu Yuan walked in, the two women cast their eyes on him at the same time. I'm back. Lu Yuan nodded, sat down in the empty seat between the two women, and said softly. Then how did your talk with Dean Flanders go? Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. It's okay. As I expected, Dean Flanders and the others didn't realize that they were drugged. They only thought that they were drunk and the accident was caused by a freak combination of factors. Rongrong escaped with her life. Lu Yuan said. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong heaved a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that Dean Flanders and the others would find out, because at that time, she wouldn't know how to face them. She wasn't afraid of drugging Lu Yuan because she loved Lu Yuan. In front of Lu Yuan, she was willing to reveal everything about herself. Before she drugged him, she was even prepared to commit suicide if Lu Yuan didn't accept her. As for Flanders and Liu Erlong, it was purely accidental. Especially when such a thing happened, she still felt very apologetic in her heart. And regarding the matter of pursuing Dean Liu Erlong, I've also talked to Dean Flanders. He said that he will work hard. When the time comes, as long as we help secretly, this marriage will be a success. So, Zhuqing, Rongrong, I'll leave this matter to you. If you have nothing to do, you can accompany Dean Erlong more, enlighten her, and put in a good word for Dean Flanders. Lu Yuan said. Yes, we know. The two girls nodded at the same time. All right, then you two can chat here. I'll go to the arena to draw tomorrow's lot. You don't have to wait for me at noon. I'll probably be back later, Lu Yuan said. How about I go with you? Ning Rongrong said. There's no need for that. You stay here with Juqing. I'll go alone, Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. Then go, we'll wait for you to come back. Looking at Lu Yuan's eyes, Zhu Juqing knew what he was thinking. He probably wanted to go back to the martial soul palace. It had to be said that Zhu Juqing understood Lu Yuan very well. Lu Yuan did indeed want to go back to the martial soul palace and have lunch with Bibidon and the others. After all, the arena was only a kilometer away from the Pope's palace. It would be more convenient to have lunch at the martial soul palace and then come back. Well, then I'll be going. Pinching the two little beauties' cheeks, Lu Yuan turned and left the room. Greetings, Your Highness Holy Son. Outside the Pope's palace, Lu Yuan's figure appeared. A group of paladins knelt down and saluted when they saw Lu Yuan. Well, get up and go back to your posts. I'm just here to look for teacher, Lu Yuan said lightly. Yes, Your Highness Holy Son. The paladins saluted again, then turned and left. Lu Yuan went straight into the Pope's palace and then turned into the side hall. Sure enough, Bibidon was reading documents. Seeing Lu Yuan come, Bibidon was a little surprised and asked, Isn't it during the competition? Why are you suddenly here? Of course it's because I missed you, teacher, Lu Yuan said with a smile as he sat down beside Bibidon. You're talking nonsense again. Tell me, what are you here for? Bibidon said as she rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan. Hihi, I can't hide it from you, teacher. Actually, I'm here to draw tomorrow's opponents. Lu Yuan laughed. So you said you came to see me in passing? Bibidon asked with a smile. Hihi. Lu Yuan laughed and scratched his head. He didn't say anything. Well, in fact, he still didn't know what to say. Bibidon was too smart. It was impossible to coax her or lie to her. Then who are your opponents tomorrow? Bibidon asked. The competition isn't over yet, so the lot drawing hasn't started yet. But I used my authority to arrange it in advance. Tomorrow's opponents are the Imperial Star Luo Academy. Lu Yuan smiled. Hehe, we met a freak like you. It seems that the Imperial Star Luo Academy will be eliminated as soon as they enter the arena. Bibidon laughed. Of course. Since we're going to make a move against the Sionra Empire sooner or later, let's make them lose face first. I'll take good care of them tomorrow. After all, I have a grudge with them, Lu Yuan said. Oh, you have a grudge with them? What grudge? Bibidon asked curiously after hearing Lu Yuan's words. Lu Yuan smiled and told her about the grudge between him and Davis and Zhu Zhuyun in the Life Ruins. Back then, I was still young and could only fight to a standstill with their Hell-White Tiger. If not for my awakening of my polychoria, I would have been defeated by the combined forces of the Hell-White Tiger and the evil soul master called Soul Devil Feather. That was the first time I was injured by someone of the younger generation. So this time, I must get back at them. I won't use my martial soul and directly kill the Hell-White Tiger in front of everyone. It can be considered a blow to the Sionra Empire. Let them know that a mere netherworld white tiger is nothing. Lu Yuan said seriously. Not a bad idea. Teacher supports you. If you want to do it, then do it. Bibidon smiled. The Sionra Empire would be the target of the Martial Soul Palace sooner or later. Bibidon naturally wouldn't refuse to make them lose face. On the contrary, she was very happy to see this scene. Furthermore, she was happy to see Lu Yuan display his invincible might in the arena and win the cheers of everyone. This was her most beloved disciple. Although she didn't realize it herself, this disciple of hers had slowly changed in her heart. Teacher, you're the best. Hearing Bibidon's words, Lu Yuan smiled brightly. He grabbed Bibidon's jade-like hand and gently rubbed it in his hand. Unfamiliar the first time, familiar the second time, used to it the third time. Bibidon was slowly getting used to Lu Yuan holding her hand. Since you're here, accompany teacher for lunch before going back, Bibidon said softly as she gently caressed Lu Yuan's face. Ian, that's what I was thinking. Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said after hearing Bibidon's words. Chapter 654. The next morning. When the sun rose, Lu Yuan and the rest gathered at the entrance of the Holy Light Hotel around 7 a.m. Needless to say, all the members of the Heavenly Star Battle team were present. Oscar and Ma Hongjun had also joined in. Oscar and Ma Hongjun were the kind of people who were very familiar with each other. In less than 2 days, they were already very familiar with each other. Flender and Liu Erlong were not around. After all, Liu Erlong was not in the mood to care about these things. As for Flender, he naturally stayed behind to accompany his Erlong girl. On the other hand, Zhao Wuji and the others followed one by one. If they could watch the competition for free, they naturally wouldn't refuse. Furthermore, it was very boring to stay in the hotel. Since everyone is here, let's go. Lu Yuan said as he looked at everyone. Yes, Captain. Everyone from the Heavenly Star team said in unison. Then let's go. With that, Lu Yuan took the lead and the rest followed behind Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan and the rest entered the competition venue. Unlike the qualifiers, there was only one competition venue for the finals. The Martial Soul Palace was very efficient. At least, it was much more efficient than the Heaven Do Empire. It was already the 3rd round of the finals. After 2 rounds, there were only 12 teams left on the field. Today's competition was to determine the top 6. After that, it would be the top 3. Finally, the remaining 3 teams would compete in the individual round. The team that won the individual round would directly enter the finals. The 2 teams that lost would compete in the group round to determine the winner. The team that won the individual round would enter the group round. The winner of the group round would be the champion of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. After entering the arena, Lu Yuan and the others were led to the resting area by the competition staff. They found a place to sit down. Like the qualifiers, there was a resting area for the finals as well. They would rest in the resting area and enter the waiting area when the announcement was made. Then, they would compete. Boss Yuan, when will the competition begin? Ma Hongjun couldn't help but ask Lu Yuan after everyone sat down. Soon, it will start at 7:30 sharp, Lu Yuan said softly. 7:30 in the morning, which was actually 8 in the morning. He had to admit that the Martial Soul Palace's competition was indeed quick. Originally, Lu Yuan had thought that the competition would take at least a dozen days. Now, however, it seemed that it would only take a little more than a week. When is our match, Boss Yuan? Ma Hongjun asked. Our match should be in the afternoon, Lu Yuan said. Then why don't we go and watch the competition in the morning? Isn't it a waste of time to stay in the resting area? Ma Hongjun said. Yeah, let's go to the spectator area to take a look, Oscar agreed. Alright then, Lu Yuan nodded, looked back at the crowd, and asked, is there anyone else who wants to go? Yes, we all want to go. As soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, everyone's voices rang out. Then let's go together, Lu Yuan said with a smile. The group of people majestically headed to the spectator area. As mentioned before, there weren't many people watching the finals because most of the audience were Soul Masters. The total audience was only 4,000 to 5,000 people, which couldn't be compared to the 40,000 to 50,000 people in the preliminaries. Furthermore, most Soul Masters had some self-restraint, or at least had seen the world. There were a few who shouted like ordinary people, so the atmosphere was definitely not as lively as the preliminaries. When Lu Yuan and the others arrived, there were already people in the spectator area. Moreover, they were familiar faces. It was none other than the people from Skywater Academy and Blazing Fire Academy. It was obvious that their teams had also entered the top 12, and they didn't have any matches in the morning. However, after thinking about it, he felt relieved. The Four Elements Academy was originally a relatively strong academy. Unless they were like the Thunder Academy and were unlucky enough to encounter the Heavenly Star Battle Squad or other strong teams, entering the top 12 wouldn't be a problem. Lu Yuan. Prince Charming. Brother Lu. As soon as Lu Yuan and the others entered, the people from Blazing Fire Academy and Skywater Academy immediately greeted Lu Yuan. Hello everyone, we meet again. It seems that everyone has also entered the top 12. Congratulations, congratulations. Lu Yuan nodded at them and said with a smile, "What are you congratulating us for? We're just here to join in the fun. The final champion has nothing to do with us. Maybe we'll stop here today." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Hua Wushuang spread out her hands and said, "Yes, Hua Wushuang is right. Even if we can advance today, we'll still be eliminated in the top 6. On the other hand, the chances of you guys winning the championship aren't small. After all, you guys are so strong." After Hua Wushuang finished speaking, Shui Bing'er also casually echoed. After hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and didn't comment. He waved his hand and gestured for everyone to take their seats. After a brief discussion with the people from Blazing Fire Academy and Skywater Academy, Lu Yuan returned to his own team's area and found a place to sit down. On his left was Zhu Zhuqing, while on his right was Wang Qiu'er. Now, Ning Rongrong was sitting there. "Mph, Sister Rongrong stole my seat." Qiu'er is angry. When she saw that Ning Rongrong had stolen her seat, Wang Qiu'er snorted and looked very angry. Wang Qiu'er was very pretty to begin with, and her angry look made her seem even more adorable and cute. Ning Rongrong looked at Wang Qiu'er and said softly, "Qiu'er, can you let Sister Rongrong sit for a while? Sister Rongrong will give you a present later." She had just confirmed her relationship with Lu Yuan, and was very clingy. She couldn't bear to leave Lu Yuan's side. However, Wang Qiu'er was different. She was Lu Yuan's most beloved sister. Ning Rongrong didn't dare to offend her, so she could only appease her nicely. "Really?" When she heard the word present, Wang Qiu'er's eyes brightened as she asked. "Of course. Sister Rongrong will buy you whatever you like later. What do you think?" Ning Rongrong said. "That's more like it." Wang Qiu'er muttered and said, "Then I'll let you have my seat today. However, Sister Rongrong has to return it to me tomorrow." Of course, of course." Ning Rongrong hurriedly nodded and said. When he heard their conversation, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. These two girls were quite interesting. As he thought, he shifted his gaze and looked at the arena not far away. Both parties were about to enter the arena. The match was about to begin. Chapter 655. So today's first match is between the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's team and the God Wind Academy's team? Lu Yuan muttered softly as he sized up the two teams below the stage. Even he hadn't thought that it would be so coincidental that the first match would be between the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. "I'd like to see how much progress you three have made in the past 2 years." Lu Yuan said softly. Tang San had become a Soul King in 2 years, while Dai Mubai and Yu Tianheng had become soul ancestors. Lu Yuan wouldn't believe that there wasn't something fishy going on even if he was beaten to death. However, the stage was blocking them, and they were too far away from each other. Furthermore, they hadn't revealed themselves yet, so even with Lu Yuan's polychoria, he couldn't see any clues. However, he believed that as long as they fought, he would be able to see through their situation. In terms of knowledge, he wasn't inferior to anyone in the Douluo continent. Coupled with the power of his polychoria, even if Tang San and the others hid their secrets, he would be able to dig them out bit by bit. But I'm afraid that the God Wind Academy will lose miserably this time. Lu Yuan sighed softly. It was obvious that the 3 strongest teams in the finals were the Heaven Star Academy, the Martial Soul Palace Academy, and the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. As long as these 3 teams didn't meet in advance, they would definitely be in the top 3. The God Wind Academy wasn't weak, and was the strongest of the 5 elemental academies. However, compared to the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, they were still far too lacking. Even if Tang San didn't fight, Yu Tianheng and Dai Mubai would probably be able to beat Feng Xiaotian up. There was nothing they could do. Feng Xiaotian was considered a rare genius, and had created a self-created soul skill like the Gale Demonic Wolf's 36 consecutive slashes. However, in the face of absolute power, his self-created soul skill wasn't very effective. Unless his self-created soul skill was very strong, like Lu Yuan's dragon roaming the Great Void, which could instantly increase his strength by several times. However, it was clear that Feng Xiaotian couldn't create a self-created soul skill of such strength, so his defeat was inevitable. Most importantly, This was the first time the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy had taken action. Feng Xiaotian and the others had no idea how strong Tang San's group was. If they still treated the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy the same way they did in the past, they would definitely be at a disadvantage. So no matter from which aspect, the God Wind Academy simply did not have the possibility of winning. Lu Yuan sighed softly and thought to himself. The first match of the third round of the finals is between the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy and the God Wind Academy. Let's welcome both teams onto the stage. The host's voice sounded, and the two teams walked up to the stage at the same time. Boss Dai, Tang San. Ma Hongjun and Oscar couldn't help but cry out when they saw the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's representatives. They didn't expect Dai Mubai and Tang San to be here. Yu Tianheng is actually back. Seeing the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's members, the Blazing Fire Academy and Skywater Academy students couldn't help but be slightly surprised. Yu Tianheng, who was rumored to be trash, was actually back. Furthermore, it seemed like he had regained his confidence. This was something they hadn't expected. Yu Tianheng. Du Guyang couldn't help but mutter to herself as she looked at Yu Tianheng on the stage. In the past, Yu Tianheng had no fighting spirit and was like a pile of mud. No matter how many times she tried to persuade him, it was to no avail. He was still like a walking corpse, which caused her to be extremely disappointed. In the end, Yu Tianheng left the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy, which cut off the fate between them. Now that she saw Yu Tianheng again, although she had already forgotten about Yu Tianheng in her heart, the past still made her heart flutter. Moreover, even though Yu Tianheng had regained his confidence, Du Guyang, who was once very familiar with him, felt that Yu Tianheng's body was giving off a strange feeling. In the past, his blue lightning tyrant dragon martial soul was overbearing and domineering, and every move of his was filled with magnanimity. It was precisely because of this that Yu Tianheng had attracted her back then. However, the current Yu Tianheng gave her a dark feeling, and this feeling made her feel very uncomfortable. If Du Guyang could feel it, Lu Yuan naturally felt something was wrong. Just as Chihiro Snow said, she felt uncomfortable looking at the three of them. Lu Yuan felt the same. The three of them gave him an oppressive feeling. It wasn't because of their strength that they could oppress Lu Yuan, but because of the formless aura they gave off. Even though there was some distance between the spectator area and the stage, Lu Yuan felt a bit of disgust. Interesting. I want to see what's so strange about your bodies. Although he had some guesses in his heart, he didn't have enough evidence, so he couldn't be sure. But as soon as he made a move, everything would be exposed. Both sides salute. Begin. The host's voice rang out. Immediately, bright soul rings rose one after another. The God Wind Academy was very strong. They had 4 soul ancestors, and their title as the strongest of the 5 elemental academies wasn't wrong. But compared to the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team, they were far inferior. Yellow, yellow, purple, and purple soul rings rose from the feet of the 6 people in succession. Tang San, who was in the middle of the line, raised his right hand slightly, and a black vine extended from his hand. It instantly spread out, and the yellow, yellow, purple, and black soul rings rippled beneath his body. 1 soul king and 6 soul ancestors. This was the strength of the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team. Furthermore, the Soul King was a Soul King that surpassed the best combination of soul rings. When the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team's soul rings appeared, everyone was shocked. No one thought that the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team would be so strong. 1 Soul King and 6 soul ancestors. This kind of strength is almost on par with the Heaven Star Academy's team. Seeing the soul ring combinations of Tang San and the others, Hua Wushuang couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. When did the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team become so strong? They're only about to catch up. Don't forget who's the strongest in the Heaven Star Academy's team. Beside Hua Wushuang, Hua Wu indifferently said. That's true. To him, numbers don't mean anything. The Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team might not be a match for us, but to him, it's nothing. Thinking of Lu Yuan's existence, Hua Wushuang sighed. You're right, that's the truth. But the Heaven Dou Imperial Academy's team is a little strange. They didn't have this kind of strength before. Shui Bing'er frowned as she spoke softly. Chapter 656. It should be related to those two unfamiliar faces, especially the one with the black vine in his hand. It's simply inconceivable that a vine martial soul could cultivate to the Soul King realm. Hua Wushuang opened his mouth and said, "Regardless of why the Heaven Do Imperial Academy is so powerful, one thing's for sure, Feng Xiaoqian's team is basically done for," Hua Wu said. "That's true." Hua Wushuang nodded. The disparity in power between the two teams was too obvious, and the Divine Wind Academy had no hope of winning. "Tang San is also a 10,000-year Soul Master?" Ning Rongrong asked doubtfully as she looked at the Soul Masters who were astonished by Tang San's strength and his 4 10,000-year soul rings. For Tang San to actually be able to do this was simply beyond her expectations. After all, Tang San hadn't even been able to retaliate against Lu Yuan, so Ning Rongrong hadn't paid much attention to Tang San. Although Tang San's rank was pretty good back then, Blue Silver Grass was a trash martial soul, so Ning Rongrong didn't pay much attention to him. However, she didn't expect Tang San to become a Soul King from a rank 29 Soul Grandmaster in just 2 years. Furthermore, he was a 10,000-year Soul Master. Even she, who had consumed the beautiful Silk Tulip and the Spirit Ascension Pill, was only rank 46. Could it be that Tang San had a fortuitous encounter that was comparable to hers? "Abuchi, what do you think is going on? I don't believe that Tang San can progress so quickly through normal cultivation. He was only rank 29 2 years ago, which means that his cultivation talent is only SOSO. For him to progress by more than 20 ranks in 2 years, he either encountered a heavenly opportunity, or he went down the wrong path." Lu Yuan finished Zhu Zhuqing's sentence. "Went down the wrong path? What do you mean?" Ning Rongrong asked. Going down the wrong path means using improper methods to increase one's strength, such as overdrawing one's life force to increase one's strength, or absorbing the blood of others to increase one's own strength. This is called going down the wrong path, Lu Yuan explained. "Oh, then did Tang San burn his own life force?" Although she had no feelings for Tang San, Ning Rongrong still didn't think of him absorbing blood and other evil things. After all, in her impression, although Tang San wasn't very good, he shouldn't be able to do such things. "It doesn't seem like it. His body is full of essence and his eyes are shining. His soul power is weak, but his life force is not damaged at all. Moreover, his martial soul is quite interesting. It reminds me of something," Lu Yuan said with a smile. "What is it?" Ning Rongrong asked. "I'm not sure yet, but don't you think that his blue-silver grass has changed a bit? In the past, his blue-silver grass was bluish-black because his second soul ring was the ghost vine. But now, his blue-silver grass is pure black without any impurities. Don't you find it strange?" Lu Yuan said. "Now that you mention it, it's a little strange. Not only him, but Dai Mubai beside him is also a little different. Dai Mubai's white tiger martial spirit should be pure white, but now, not only is there a faint red light on his martial spirit, even his evil eye is scarlet red. This doesn't make sense." After Lu Yuan finished speaking, Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded. With regards to the white tiger martial soul, the Zhu family was the one who understood it the most besides the Star Luo imperial family. After all, the Zhu family knew a lot about the white tiger martial soul. Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai were engaged since young, so she naturally had some knowledge about the white tiger martial soul. Therefore, although Dai Mubai's white tiger martial soul situation wasn't obvious, it was enough for her to see that something was wrong. Not only that, it's the same for Yu Tianheng. Pay attention to his eyes. When the blue lightning tyrant dragon martial soul is possessed, his pupils will be blue, but Yu Tianheng's pupils are black. It's obvious that something interesting is happening to Yu Tianheng's body. Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded. She wanted to say something, but at this time, the match on the stage began. As expected, it was a massacre. Black vines spread out from Tang San's hand, and in an instant, 7 black cages completely wrapped around the 7 people from the God Wind Academy. Then, without waiting for Feng Xiaotian and the others to break the cages, Dai Mubai and Yu Tianheng's attacks completely submerged the 7 people from the God Wind Academy. In just one wave of attacks, the God Wind Academy was basically crippled. This result could be said to have surprised countless people. A crowd control skill? It seems that Tang San obtained the underground demon spider's soul ring, and obtained this skill. However, when he released his soul skill, the energy fluctuations that were emitted, in addition to the poison, there was also a dark aura, and even a faint devouring ability. If not for the blue-silver grass on the blue-silver cage releasing its poison and devouring the soul power of Feng Xiaotian and the others, it would have been impossible to cripple them in one wave. Dark blue-silver grass, that's right, this is the dark blue-silver grass martial soul. It can devour the blood and life force of others to increase its own soul power. I didn't expect that the blue-silver emperor would not awaken, but instead turn dark. It seems that Tang San's character has become distorted, and has fallen into a frenzy to increase his strength. Yu Tianheng and Dai Mubai's attack also revealed a lot of things. Yu Tianheng's soul power contained a dark and evil energy, and Dai Mubai's soul power contained a crazy bloodthirsty aura. These two guys are really similar to Tang San. So, the 3 of them are now 3 evil soul masters? Lu Yuan smiled faintly in his heart. This is a little interesting. Although he didn't know why the 3 of them were suppressing the changes in their martial souls, and didn't make it too obvious, to Lu Yuan, all concealment was useless as long as he made a move, and his polychoria could see through everything. It wasn't easy to deal with you guys. Evil soul masters? That's a pretty good reason. Lu Yuan's lips curled up slightly. Originally, he had to do it secretly if he wanted to kill Dai Mubai and Yu Tianheng, but now, he had an excuse to do it openly. Evil soul masters were the greatest enemies of all soul masters in the world, and everyone had the right to kill them. With this reason, Lu Yuan wouldn't have any problem killing them openly. Furthermore, Lu Yuan hated evil soul masters. After all, he had almost died in the hands of an evil soul master, so how could he not have any grudges? It should be fun in the finals. Lu Yuan smiled faintly, and a plan slowly formed in his heart. Chapter 657. It's time to arrange a wave of killing people. It's very interesting. Lu Yuan said softly and smiled. Abuchi, what are you laughing at? Why do I feel like someone is going to be unlucky? Looking at Lu Yuan's smile, Ning Rongrong asked doubtfully. Nothing, I just thought of something happy. Squeezing Ning Rongrong's hand, Lu Yuan said softly. What happy thing? Ning Rongrong asked. I find that I like you more and more. Is that something to be happy about? Pinching Ning Rongrong's face, Lu Yuan asked with a smile. That is indeed something to be happy about. Hearing Lu Yuan say that he likes her more and more, Ning Rongrong suddenly smiled. Her beautiful face was full of bright spring light. She was really happy in her heart. This was the first time Lu Yuan said that he likes her. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but hold Lu Yuan's arm and hug him tightly in her arms. Her small head directly leaned on Lu Yuan's shoulder. Seeing this, Lu Yuan smiled gently. He stretched out his left hand and stroked Ning Rongrong's cheek. It has to be said that when Ning Rongrong is well behaved, she is very likable. For the current Ning Rongrong, except for a certain area, Lu Yuan was still very satisfied with her overall. However, he wasn't worried. His technique was very professional. Growing up wasn't a problem. Ning Rongrong's face was full of smiles, but Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed with a strange look. Rongrong, this girl, was probably coaxed again. Ning Rongrong and Lu Yuan's intimate time together was still short. She didn't know this guy's personality, but she was very clear. Ning Rongrong's perception was indeed correct. Someone was definitely going to be unlucky. Moreover, these 3 people were Tang San, Dai Mubai, and Yu Tianheng. Originally, Lu Yuan said that he was going to kill them. Now, it seemed that Lu Yuan's heart must have taken the next step. Thinking of this, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but shake her head. Lu Yuan was a person who treated his own people very well, but he was also merciless to his enemies. She was very glad that she followed Lu Yuan and received his love. Otherwise, if she did not meet Lu Yuan and still followed Dai Mubai, with Lu Yuan's way of doing things, she was afraid that she would not have a good ending. Zhu Zhuqing had a deep understanding of Lu Yuan's ruthlessness. He was definitely not a good person, but he was not a bad person either. He was a person with a bottom line. Other than his enemies, he would never harm the innocent. It was also this point that Zhu Zhuqing admired. After all, which member of a big force was a good person? It was normal to target one's enemy for one's own benefit. The two empires, the martial Soul Palace, and the various large sects were all like this. This was the law of the Douluo continent. The strong were respected, and the weak were prey to the strong. With regards to this, Zhu Zhuqing, who had grown up in the darkness, was undoubtedly very clear about this. Lu Yuan tilted his head and looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who was in a daze. He smiled and gently squeezed her hand. Zhu Zhuqing immediately recovered from her thoughts. Looking at Lu Yuan, she revealed a faint smile. Her cold aura, coupled with her faint smile, was truly breathtaking. The match is over. The Heaven Do Imperial Academy is victorious. After Feng Xiaotian was slapped off the stage by Yu Tianheng, who was covered in blood, the entire match came to an end. The Heaven Do Imperial Academy did not show mercy. On the contrary, they were very heavy-handed. Everyone, including Feng Xiaotian, was severely injured. This was especially true for Tang San, Yu Tianheng, and Dai Mubai. When they attacked, the ferocity in their eyes could not be concealed. It seemed like their personalities and ways of doing things had changed greatly after becoming evil soul masters. The Heaven Do Imperial Academy's performance shocked many people. Tang San and the others even attracted the attention of the entire audience. On the stage, Tang San, Yu Tianheng, and Dai Mubai stood together. At the same time, they made a throat-slitting gesture in Lu Yuan's direction. It was obvious that they had already discovered Lu Yuan and the others. Now that the Heaven Do Imperial Academy had just won, their every action naturally attracted the attention of the entire audience. Instantly, the entire audience's eyes were cast towards Lu Yuan and the others. Very gutsy, but not very strong. In this world, there are always fleas that seek death. They think they have some ability, but they don't know that in the eyes of the truly strong, they can be squashed to death with a single finger. In the face of the three's provocation, Lu Yuan's voice sounded. His tone was very casual and indifferent. He flicked his finger lightly on his clothes, as if he was really flicking away a flea. The two sides directly confronted each other. In an instant, the entire audience was in an uproar. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Tang San indifferently said, "You're very arrogant, but I hope your strength matches your arrogance. There's no need for you three losers to worry about that. Take care of yourselves. Since the three of you are provoking me, then do your best to climb as far as you can. Don't lose before I even get on the stage. That would really make people not know whether to laugh or cry." Lu Yuan casually said. "Don't worry, there will be a battle between us sooner or later. We will take back what we've lost one by one." Tang San indifferently said. "Your ambition is commendable. However, those who have lost to me will never have the chance to catch up again. 3 pieces of trash are gathered together, but they are still trash. Numbers are meaningless to me. Since you are so stubborn, then let me send you all into the abyss of despair once again. I wonder if you can climb out this time." Lu Yuan lightly laughed. "Ah, that's not necessarily true. When the time comes, you'll know how much you'll regret underestimating us." Tang San indifferently said. He pulled Dai Mubai and Yu Tianheng, who were already somewhat impatient, down the stage. But even after they left, the atmosphere in the arena was still very intense. Many people in the audience were still discussing enthusiastically. What did they see? Was it a battle? Or was it a battle between the top teams? This was too interesting. Bah, what's that? They were the ones who provoked you first, and you actually said that you're arrogant. You're just speaking the truth. The 3 of them were already defeated by you. Looking at the backs of Tang San and the rest, Ning Rongrong lightly spat. There was a trace of indignance in her tone. In her opinion, What Lu Yuan said was completely the truth. These 3 rotten watermelons wanted to fight against Lu Yuan. That was just a daydream. She knew how powerful Lu Yuan was, better than anyone else. Back then, even Grandpa Jian had lost to Lu Yuan when he didn't use his soul power and only competed with his moves. These 3 fellows were nothing. Even Grandpa Jian said that Lu Yuan could at least fight against a soul Douluo if he unleashed his full strength. She didn't believe that Lu Yuan would lose to anyone. Chapter 658. Lu Yuan was her man. In her eyes, Lu Yuan was the most outstanding person in the world. No one could compare to him. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile when he saw Ning Rongrong's indignant look. He rubbed her head. This girl was very protective of her husband. She couldn't stand others talking bad about him. Lu Yuan really liked this. Ning Rongrong smiled when she saw Lu Yuan rubbing her head gently. She leaned on Lu Yuan's body. Actually, what they said wasn't completely unreasonable. Abuchi's words sounded a little arrogant, especially when he said that he wanted to send them into the abyss of despair. It felt a little like a villain boss. Zhu Zhuqing said softly, I didn't say I was a good person. If I'm a villain, then so be it. But compared to them, I'm not bad. At least I'm not an evil soul master. Lu Yuan smiled. Abuchi, you mean? Zhu Zhuqing was shocked when she heard Lu Yuan's words. She hurriedly asked. Yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. Lu Yuan said with a smile. So that's really the case. What do you plan to do? Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. It's nothing important. We'll do the same as before. We'll just go back and make some preparations. When the time comes, we'll give them a big gift. Lu Yuan said. Okay, it's good that you've thought about it. Zhu Zhuqing said. Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing's conversation wasn't loud. It could even be said that it was very soft. Other than the 2 of them, only Ning Rongrong, who was leaning on Lu Yuan, could hear the content of their conversation. However, she was a little confused. She didn't understand what the 2 of them were talking about. This wasn't a good feeling. She felt that she didn't have as much chemistry with Lu Yuan as he did with Zhu Zhuqing. Furthermore, Zhu Zhuqing knew more about Lu Yuan's secrets than she did. There was definitely jealousy in her heart, but she didn't have any thoughts of being jealous or throwing a tantrum because she knew that she was the last to arrive. Therefore, she made up her mind to learn more about Lu Yuan from now on. If she didn't understand, she would ask. Abuchi, what were you and Zhuqing talking about just now? Ning Rongrong asked in a sweet voice. We're talking about Tang San and Dai Mubai, Lu Yuan said softly. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong seemed to have thought of something. She couldn't help but ask in astonishment, did you just say that they were evil soul masters? That's right. That's why Zhuqing and I were discussing how to deal with them. But as for the specifics, I won't say it now. You'll know when the time comes. Without hiding anything, Lu Yuan openly admitted it. After all, Ning Rongrong was now his woman. Other than the fact that he couldn't reveal his identity as a member of the Martial Soul Palace for the time being, there was no harm in telling her everything. Oh. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong nodded gently with a smile on her face. Abuchi didn't hide anything from her. This feeling was really good. Let's go. Right now, the entire audience is staring at us. It's quite uncomfortable. Since the competition is in the afternoon, I'll take you out for a walk first, Lu Yuan said softly. Okay. Hearing this, the 2 girls nodded. After greeting everyone, Lu Yuan held the 2 girls' hands and left the spectator area. In fact, he wasn't very interested in watching the competition, especially after Tang San and the others finished competing. He took the 2 girls to stroll around. Soon, it was afternoon. Captain, are we going to compete later? In the waiting area, Fu Qinsheng and the others looked at Lu Yuan and asked. No, Zhuqing and I will go on stage later. We have some personal grudges to settle, Lu Yuan said. Personal grudges? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ling Wei and the others were puzzled and asked. Qinsheng should know a little about this, Lu Yuan said with a light smile. Hearing this, Everyone's eyes glanced at Fu Qinsheng. I do know a little about this, but Captain, can I say it? Fu Qinsheng asked. It's okay, you can say it, Lu Yuan said with a light smile. With Lu Yuan's permission, Fu Qinsheng no longer hesitated and told them what he saw and heard in the ruins, as well as Zhu Zhuqing's identity. Suddenly, everyone understood what Lu Yuan meant by grudges. Since everyone is clear, then leave this match to us, Lu Yuan said. Okay, Captain, you can do it. Everyone cheered for the two. It's okay, it's just a small character. No need to be so serious, Lu Yuan said with a light smile. The third round of the finals, the first match in the afternoon, the Heavenly Star Academy team against the Imperial Star Luo Academy team is about to start. Both teams, please come on stage. At this moment, the host's voice sounded. Let's go, Zhu Qing. Lu Yuan stood up and said to Zhu Zhuqing beside him. Okay. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded lightly and followed beside Lu Yuan. Yo, Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing are going on stage. Is it going to be 2 vs 7 again? Seeing the two people walking on stage, Hua Wushuang, who had already seen this kind of scene before, couldn't help but say aloud. Isn't it normal to fight 2 vs 7? I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1 vs 7. Hua Wushuang, who was beside her, said indifferently. That's true. Hearing this, Shui Bing-er and the others nodded. Speaking of which, sister, the next match seems to be our match. Aren't you guys in a hurry? Shui Yu-er asked Shui Bing-er. If you're in a hurry, you can go to the resting area and prepare first. Shui Bing-er looked at Shui Yu-er and said with a light smile. I'm not going, I want to stay here and watch my Prince Charming. Shui Yu-er curled her lips and said. Then why are you still saying those words? Shui Bing-er rolled her eyes and said. Hihi, I'm just worried about our match. Shui Yu-er said with a smile. What are you worried about? Our opponent is the Blazing Fire Academy. They're right beside us. If they're not in a hurry, then we don't have to be in a hurry either. Anyway, even if we enter the top 6, we'll still be eliminated in the end. What's the point of thinking so much? Shui Bing-er said. That's true. Shui Yu-er smiled foolishly with a face full of naivety. Seeing this, Shui Bing-er couldn't help but shake her head and look at the stage. It seems that these academies are very optimistic about Lu Yuan. In the corner of the spectator area, 3 figures gathered together. It was Tang San, Dai Mubai, and Yu Tianheng. Hearing the conversations of the academies not far away, Dai Mubai curled the corner of his mouth and said indifferently. Because they've been beaten until they're scared. Yu Tianheng said with a sneer. That's true, but Lu Yuan is really strong. I've never dared to look down on him because we've all been defeated by him. Before we succeed in our revenge, we're all losers. And losers don't have the qualifications to look down on someone who has once defeated us. Tang San said in a serious tone. Chapter 659. Little San, you're right. Hearing Tang San's words, Yu Tianheng and Dai Mubai's expressions turned cold. Why had they come here to spectate? Wasn't it to gather information on Lu Yuan? Wasn't it to probe Lu Yuan's strength? Since they were afraid of Lu Yuan's strength, what right did they have to mock him? They were all losers, so who was better than the other? Therefore, both of them put away the arrogance they had after their strength had increased and became much more serious. Seeing this, Tang San couldn't help but nod. He was a cautious person. Even though his strength had increased by a lot, his heart was still filled with helplessness from his defeat at the hands of Lu Yuan. Therefore, he still regarded Lu Yuan with great importance. The Golden Dragon martial soul was too strong. It was far from what the blue-silver grass and clear sky hammer could compare to. Perhaps only the legendary Celestial Emperor's hammer could compete with the Golden Dragon. As Yu Xiaogang's disciple, Tang San knew about these things. Yu Xiaogang had even analyzed all of Lu Yuan's abilities that they knew. In the end, the conclusion that Lu Yuan had no shortcomings at all. If they wanted to defeat him, they could only rely on brute strength. Tang San's heart crumbled when he found out about this. Therefore, in order to avenge Tang Hao as soon as possible and to obtain the strength to contend against Lu Yuan, Tang San had been cultivating the clear sky hammer since the fourth ring in addition to cultivating the dark blue silver grass. He had added 5 10,000-year soul rings to his clear sky hammer. Only with a full set of 10,000-year soul rings did he have the courage to defeat Lu Yuan once again. However, he still didn't feel at ease. Therefore, he still came to scout for information even though he had 7 fusion skills. In order to win, Tang San was willing to be cautious and cautious. This time, he wanted to make Lu Yuan regret it for the rest of his life. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Tang San was thinking. Even if he knew, he wouldn't care. Looking at the 7 members of the Imperial Star Luo Academy's team, Lu Yuan's gaze was indifferent. This time, he wanted the Imperial Star Luo Academy's team to return home as soon as they entered the arena. Moreover, he was bringing a group of seriously injured people back to his hometown. Zhu Qing, it really is you. You've been away from home for so many years. As your older sister, I've missed you so much, Zhu Zhuyun said in a strange tone. Will you miss me? I'm afraid you can't wait for me to die. Since I was 6 years old, you've sent assassins to assassinate me many times, wanting to kill me. You even personally took action to hunt me down. I remember all these things in my heart. This time, I will take back everything you owe me. Zhu Zhuqing said coldly. Hehe, it seems like you're very confident now. Who gave you that confidence? Is it the man beside you? TSK, looks like you've completely abandoned Mu Bai for the sake of hugging another man's thigh. My poor little brother. Davis chuckled. If a dog doesn't know how to speak, then shut up. Why are you barking everywhere? There's no meat for you to eat here. Or is a dog tired of living and looking for death? If that's the case, then I don't mind letting the Imperial Star Luo family lose a prince. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness as he spoke in an indifferent tone. Zhu Zhuqing never owed Dai Mubai anything. Her feelings for him were not to be slandered. Whoever dared to humiliate Zhu Zhuqing would pay a painful price. Oh, what a big tone. You must be the guy wearing a mask in the ruins. Today, we'll settle the grudge from back then. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Davis's eyes flashed with killing intent. He still remembered how he'd been reduced to nothingness by Lu Yuan's attack. He'd lost in the ruins. This time, he definitely wouldn't lose again. A few years had passed, and he and Zhu Zhuyun's Hell White Tiger had long since reached a higher realm. As long as they paid attention to that guy's strange eye technique, they had a 90% chance of winning this match. 7 against 2. No matter how they fought, they could win. With Zhu Zhuqing's strength, Davis and Lu Yuan didn't take her seriously at all. Well, far away in Star Luo, they didn't understand Zhu Zhuqing's strength at all. They thought Zhu Zhuqing was still the same as before. Little did they know that Zhu Zhuqing's strength had long surpassed theirs. Indeed, it's time to settle things. So, everyone who came up today will have to come up vertically and go down horizontally, Lu Yuan said softly. Then let's see how capable you are, Davis said softly. His eyes narrowed. This was a sign that the killing intent in his heart was surging wildly. He had already decided to completely cripple Lu Yuan and Lu Yuan in this arena. Little did he know that Lu Yuan had the same idea. When Davis was crippled by him and Dai Mubai was crushed to death, he wanted to see who the Sionra Empire would choose to inherit the throne. As for this enmity with the Sionra Empire, Lu Yuan wasn't afraid at all. If there was a chance, he would even kill Dai Tianfeng, the emperor of Star Luo. Don't ask. Asking was daring. In this life, other than his first wife, Chihiro Snow, he wasn't afraid of anyone. No one could make him retreat. A mere Sionra Empire? Just fight back. Don't ask. Asking was the way to go. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing beside him, Lu Yuan said softly, Zhu Qing, when you make your move later, just chase after Zhu Zhuyun and beat her up. Vent all the pain you've suffered before here. As for the others, leave them to me. I won't let them disturb you. Abuchi. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing called out softly. Her eyes were filled with deep affection. She was really touched that Lu Yuan was so considerate of her. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's appearance, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and said, I know that your childhood experience has always been a thorn in your heart. Even if you're by my side, you still can't forget these things. So, we might as well end it all today. After today, you'll be a brand new Zhu Zhuqing, a Zhu Zhuqing who has abandoned the past. And a Zhu Zhuqing who completely belongs to you, Zhu Zhuqing said softly. You're right to say that. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. At this moment, the host's voice rang out. Both teams, please get ready. The match officially begins. As soon as the host finished speaking, apart from Lu Yuan, both teams released their martial souls at the same time. The resplendent light of their soul rings lit up the entire arena. On the Imperial Star Luo Academy's side, 4 of the 5 people behind Davis and Zhu Zhuyun had yellow, and purple soul rings. In addition to Davis and Zhu Zhuyun, the entire Imperial Star Luo Academy's team had 6 soul ancestors. With this strength, they were indeed worthy of being one of the 3-seeded teams guaranteed to enter the finals. They didn't lose face for the Imperial Star Luo Academy. But to Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuyun, this was still nothing. Chapter 660. If the appearance of the 6 soul ancestors made the Imperial Star Luo Academy's team the center of attention, then Zhu Zhuqing's soul ring combination was even more shocking. Meow. Zhu Zhuqing's body emitted a faint light. Her ears turned into furry cat ears, and sharp black claws emerged from her jade-like hands. Behind her, the figure of a huge black cat stood silently. Its eyes were open, and its clear blue eyes exuded an indescribable sense of nobility. Beneath her body, 5 soul rings, yellow, purple, black, and black emitted a resplendent light. A 5-ringed soul king? Another 10,000-year soul ring? Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's soul rings, the audience went into an uproar. Aside from Tang San from the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, another 10,000-year soul king had appeared. Furthermore, it was a female soul master. The audience couldn't help but be astonished by this. However, they weren't the ones who were even more astonished. The members of the Imperial Star Luo Academy, especially Davis and Zhu Zhuyun, were simply astonished. How is this possible? You were only rank 19 4 years ago. How did you break through to become a soul king in less than 4 years? This is impossible. Zhu Zhuyun's voice was filled with disbelief. She didn't dare to believe that Zhu Zhuqing, who was 7 years younger than her, had completely surpassed her in terms of soul power. Generally speaking, it's impossible. Fortunately, I met a good man. He's omnipotent. With him, I was able to break through to the Soul King realm. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice rang out. She looked at Lu Yuan with a gentle gaze. Lu Yuan smiled slightly at her words. He turned to look at Zhu Zhuqing. The two looked at each other, and a faint warmth filled the air. Seeing this, Zhu Zhuyun's eyes narrowed. For the first time, she was jealous of Zhu Zhuqing. She was jealous that Zhu Zhuqing was lucky enough to meet such a good man. The women of the Zhu family were all pitiful, and Zhu Zhuyun was no exception. She didn't necessarily love Davis, but the political marriage had bound them together. They could only be connected as one. To the women of the Zhu family, love was a luxury. But now, Zhu Zhuqing had broken her destiny. Not only had she met a man who doted on her and obtained her feelings, but her strength had also risen to such a terrifying level. This made Zhu Zhuyun's heart burn with jealousy. What did Zhu Zhuqing do to deserve so many things? She didn't need to work hard, she didn't need to risk her life for a man to prepare everything for her. However, she, Zhu Zhuyun, was still being ridden by Zhu Zhuqing, which made Zhu Zhuyun's heart seriously imbalanced. To put it simply, he was so jealous that his mentality was about to explode. Davis, on the other hand, was different. He was similarly shocked by Zhu Zhuqing's realm and soul ring combination, but his gaze was more focused on Lu Yuan. Furthermore, he had an ominous premonition in his heart. Zhu Zhuqing was already a soul king, and the man in front of him was undoubtedly stronger than her. He was definitely a soul king. Facing 2 soul kings, Davis felt a sense of oppression in his heart. Would 6 soul ancestors and 1 soul exalt be able to defeat 2 soul kings? Davis wasn't sure about this, so he was already serious in his heart. Furthermore, he still remembered that the man in front of him had a very terrifying eye technique. This was undoubtedly something that he had to be wary of. It could be said that Davis was now 120% vigilant. He didn't dare to underestimate Lu Yuan and Hui Yuhao at all. "Do it!" Lu Yuan shouted softly. Zhu Zhuqing's figure turned into an afterimage and directly rushed towards Zhu Zhuyun. Just as Lu Yuan said, Zhu Zhuqing was going to repay everything that Zhu Zhuyun had done to her since she was young. When Zhu Zhuqing stepped forward, Lu Yuan's figure moved. He had promised that no one would have a chance to interfere in the battle between her and Zhu Zhuyun. "Zhu Zhuyun, die!" Zhu Zhuqing raised her sharp claws and directly attacked Zhu Zhuyun. Zhu Zhuyun, who was burning with jealousy, didn't seem to see the huge gap between her and Zhu Zhuqing. She directly faced Zhu Zhuqing. "Everyone, prepare to support Zhuyun." Seeing Zhu Zhuqing directly pounce towards Zhu Zhuyun, Davis hurriedly shouted. With Zhu Zhuqing's current strength as a Soul King, Zhu Zhuyun was simply no match for her, so they had to support her from the side. Not a bad idea, but this is a grudge between sisters. No one can interfere. Lu Yuan's golden dragon image spread out beneath his feet as he directly arrived in front of the Imperial Star Luo Academy team. He blocked in front of them alone. Scram! Seeing Zhu Zhuyun, who was not far away, sent flying by Zhu Zhuqing's claw, a trace of anxiousness flashed through Davis's eyes as he let out a loud roar. "You want me to scram? With just you?" Lu Yuan's indifferent voice rang out. "Since you're so arrogant that you won't even use your martial soul, I'll deal with you directly," Davis shouted as his first and third soul rings lit up at the same time. First soul skill, White Tiger's Shield. Third soul skill, White Tiger's Vajra transformation. After activating his two soul skills, Davis's body became much thicker, and he grew taller by 2 feet. The muscles on his arms bulged, and a pair of sharp tiger claws flickered with a cold light. Davis strode forward, his body exuding a biting cold aura. At the same time, the remaining 5 members of the Imperial Star Luo Academy split into 2 groups. One group charged directly towards Lu Yuan with Davis, while the other rushed towards the battle between Zhu Zhuqing and Zhu Zhuyun. Did my words go in one ear and out the other? All of you, go back. His figure flashed as he transformed into 6 afterimages. It was the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions, which he hadn't used in a long time. Dong dong dong. 6 muffled sounds rang out as the 6 members of the Imperial Star Luo Academy, including Davis, were all sent flying before crashing to the ground. What defensive soul skill? What White Tiger's Vajra transformation? In the face of Lu Yuan's monstrous strength that could crush everything, they were all useless. Lu Yuan finally understood why the Golden Dragon of Ultimate Strength was called the strongest martial soul among the ultimate martial souls. It was because one strength could break all techniques. No matter how many tricks you have up your sleeve, I'll break them with my own strength. It could be said that the current Lu Yuan was already showing signs of this. After experiencing the 9th Celestial Stairway's sacred flame body tempering, Lu Yuan's strength had reached a terrifying 150,000 kilograms. Apart from those strength-type titled Douluo who specialized in strength, ordinary titled Douluo didn't have such a figure. Now, Lu Yuan's every move was immensely powerful. Chapter 661. This. Is Boss Yuan so strong now? And Zhuqing, she's already a Soul King. Ma Hongjun was a little shocked as he watched Zhu Zhuqing and Zhu Zhuyun fight in the waiting area. He then saw Lu Yuan send 6 people flying with a single move. Although Lu Yuan was very strong in the past, he wasn't this strong. There were 5 soul ancestors and 1 soul elder who had activated their soul skills. 6 of them were sent flying with a single strike, and they couldn't resist at all. This was a little scary. Zhu Zhuqing also had 5 soul rings, and she had a 10,000-year 4th soul ring, just like Tang San. This surprised Ma Hongjun a little, and he felt a little defeated at the same time. Of the 8 people from Shrek Academy, Boss Yuan naturally didn't have to be mentioned. 2 years ago, he was rank 46, and now he was at least a Soul King. Something strange had happened to Tang San, and he'd become a soul king. Zhu Zhuqing had also reached the same level as him. Dai Mubai and Ning Rongrong were also soul ancestors. It seemed like only he and Oscar were still soul elders. They had always been proud of their identity as monsters, but compared to the others, he and Oscar were really far apart. As he thought until here, he couldn't help but look at Oscar, only to see that Oscar also looked defeated. It was fine if others were stronger than you, but it didn't feel good to see your former companions leave you in the dust. After hearing Ma Hongjuan's words, Ning Rongrong said, "Of course Abuchi is strong. He's only playing now. No one in the entire tournament is a match for him. Until now, no one is qualified to make him release his martial soul." Ning Rongrong's eyes were a little dazed as she watched Lu Yuan turn his opponent's attack into nothingness with just a wave of his hand. How can this man be so outstanding, so powerful, and so charming? I'm really in love with him. It's so good to be his girlfriend. As she thought until here, Ning Rongrong was full of joy. She had successfully turned from a bootlicker to a real girlfriend. It wasn't easy to chase this man. Ning Rongrong sighed in her heart. Is there no one who is qualified to make him release his martial spirit? Ma Hongjun and Oscar looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with amazement. It seemed that there was still a gap between people. White Tiger's fierce light ray. On the stage, Davis let out a loud shout and spat out a white light wave from his mouth. This was the White Tiger's second soul skill. At the same time, the remaining 5 people launched their attacks at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's attack just now made them realize that if they wanted to win this match, they had to defeat this terrifying man in front of them. A powerless attack. Lu Yuan walked slowly. His pair of jade-like white and tender palms seemed to casually clap, annihilating the incoming attacks. As for Lu Yuan, let alone being injured, there wasn't even a single wrinkle on his clothes. If one were to use a word to describe Lu Yuan at this moment, it would be that he was taking a leisurely stroll. It was as if he wasn't fighting, but just having fun. What a familiar scene. In the spectator area, Hua Wushuang looked at Lu Yuan on the stage and couldn't help but sigh softly. Back then, their Blazing Fire Academy was the same. All of their attacks were casually dispersed by Lu Yuan's palm. It was as if the strength of both sides weren't of the same era. There's only one feeling when facing him, and that's powerlessness. He gives people a suffocating feeling of oppression. Those who haven't experienced it won't understand. Fire Dance shook her head with a complicated look in her eyes. Originally, she wanted to defeat Lu Yuan, but the difference in strength between the two sides was too great. It was so great that it made her feel despair. Fortunately, I haven't faced Prince Charming. Our opponent is Zhu Zhuqing. Although her strength is also frightening, we can at least put up a fight. Shui Yue giggled. In the promotion round, the Skywater Academy fought with Zhu Zhuqing. They weren't her match, and she defeated 6 opponents by herself. Originally, the last one, Shui Bing-er, was going to lose. However, on account of the friendship between the Skywater Academy and Zhu Zhuqing, Wang Qiu'er replaced her, giving the Skywater Academy some face. Therefore, the girls from the Skywater Academy had a good impression of Zhu Zhuqing and the Heavenly Star Academy. Indeed, I remember that Zhu Zhuqing defeated 7 opponents by herself, right? Fire Dance nodded and asked. Indeed, who asked them to have a grudge with the Skystar Academy from the beginning? They were just asking for trouble. Shui Bing-er said softly. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but nod slightly, agreeing with Shui Bing-er's words. It seems like your attacks are just like that. It doesn't hurt or itch. Well, it's time to clean up, you useless people. There's still a main course waiting for us later. Lu Yuan smiled softly. The main course he was talking about was naturally the Netherworld White Tiger. The shadow of a golden dragon appeared under his feet. Lu Yuan used the dragon swimming steps, and his speed was extremely fast. Get down. With a single punch, Lu Yuan destroyed the defenses of a defense-type soul ancestor from the Imperial Star Luo Academy. Accompanied by the sound of bones breaking, the soul ancestor's body was like a cannonball as he was blasted off the stage by Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan didn't show any mercy. This punch wouldn't kill him, but he'd have to be bedridden for at least a month to recover. Lu Yuan wasn't one to lie. Since he said he'd cripple his opponent, then he'd definitely do it. Impudent. You actually dare to be so heavy-handed. Seeing that his team member had been sent flying by Lu Yuan with a single punch and was seriously injured, Davis couldn't hold back any longer. He immediately used his strongest soul skill. Fourth soul skill, White Tiger Meteor Shower. Davis' fourth soul ring lit up, and a meteor shower that blotted out the sky and covered the earth rushed towards Lu Yuan. At the same time, several other soul masters also attacked. What a spectacular scene! Seeing the resplendent rain of light rushing towards him, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He clenched his fist and punched out. Mountain Sea Fist, moving mountains and filling seas. His fist carried a resplendent golden radiance as it blasted out. The enormous fist image that filled the sky completely dispersed the rain of light. This was the Mountain Sea Fist that he hadn't used in a long time. It was a secret technique from Wu Wudi. Lu Yuan hadn't used it yet, not because it wasn't powerful, but because Lu Yuan usually fought with his golden dragon spear. He rarely had the opportunity to use it. On the contrary, its power was actually very terrifying. Get down. After dispersing the rain of light with a single punch, Lu Yuan charged towards the Imperial Star Luo Academy team like a wolf in a flock of sheep. With one punch each, he blasted the remaining 4 people out of the ring, with the exception of Davis. Chapter 662. With Lu Yuan not holding back, the outcome of those who were hit was needless to say all of them were seriously injured. Slap. A slap landed on Davis's face, and Davis was sent flying. His handsome face was swollen, and a few bloody teeth flew out of his mouth. They had been knocked out by Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan shook his hand. He finally knew why Zhu Zhuqing and the others liked to hit people in the face when they hit them. Needless to say, this slap felt pretty good. Slap. The slap was clean and crisp. That sound was especially pleasing to the ear. Especially when you're slapping someone you hate, it's especially satisfying. Of course, this was only limited to the person who slapped. The person who was slapped definitely wasn't in a good mood. I'm going to kill you. Davis's eyes were red after being slapped by Lu Yuan in the arena. He was the first prince of the Sionra Empire. When had he ever been humiliated like this? He was instantly enraged. He waved his sharp tiger claws, ignoring the huge gap between the two of them, and pounced directly at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan didn't even bat an eyelid in the face of Davis' attack. The white tiger martial soul that the Star Luo imperial family was so proud of was nothing in front of Lu Yuan. Furthermore, Davis was but a mere soul ancestor. Slap. Lu Yuan clenched his fist and punched the other side of Davis's face. Under Lu Yuan's immense strength, a red fist mark appeared on Davis's face. The other side of Davis's face was also swollen. A slap landed on the back of Davis' head, and Davis fell to the ground from the impact. Lu Yuan dragged Davis's feet as if he was dragging a dead dog. He slowly walked towards Zhu Zhuqing's arena. It went without saying who would win the battle between Zhu Zhuqing and Zhu Zhuyun. Lu Yuan could not think of a reason why Zhu Zhuqing would lose. It was a battle between a soul king and a soul ancestor with a superb martial soul, the 9 lives lynx, against a nether civet that had just entered the threshold of a top-notch martial soul. Ah! Following Zhu Zhuyun's scream, Zhu Zhuqing's claw landed on Zhu Zhuyun's body. Suddenly, Zhu Zhuyun fell heavily onto the arena. There were multiple claw marks all over Zhu Zhuyun's body. Fresh blood flowed out and dyed her robes red. However, it was clear that Zhu Zhuqing had shown mercy. Otherwise, a soul ancestor like Zhu Zhuyun would have been beaten unconscious long ago. The injuries on Zhu Zhuyun's body looked terrible, but in fact, they were all superficial wounds. Zhu Zhuqing was still a kind-hearted girl after all. She didn't treat her sister too harshly. Even though her elder sister had chased after her many times, wanting to kill her, she had only wanted to vent her anger. From the beginning to the end, she had never thought of killing the other party. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing, who was not far away, Lu Yuan casually threw Davis away. Suddenly, The man and woman got together again. Davis, are you okay? Looking at Davis, who was beaten up like a pig's head, Zhu Zhuyun couldn't help but call out softly. There was a trace of worry in her eyes. Although she didn't necessarily love Davis, it was undeniable that their fates were tied together. If something happened to Davis, she wouldn't have an easy time either. Therefore, she was still concerned about Davis's situation. I'm fine, Zhuyun. What about you? Davis asked. I'm a little injured, but it's not too serious. I still have the strength to fight, Zhu Zhuyun said. Well then, let's prepare to fight one last time, Davis said softly as his eyes narrowed. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuyun's eyes flashed. She knew what Davis meant. Zhuqing. Without caring about the two people, Lu Yuan walked directly to Zhu Zhuqing's side and held her lily-white hand. There was a trace of concern in his eyes. Abuchi, thank you. I feel much better now, Zhu Zhuqing said softly as she looked at Lu Yuan's eyes. That's good. Lu Yuan laughed softly. Abuchi, when you attack later, spare my sister's life. Actually, she's also a pitiful person. Looking at Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing's tone changed to a trace of pleading. She knew that Lu Yuan's last thought was to blow up the Netherworld White Tiger. Otherwise, Davis and the others would have been eliminated by Lu Yuan long ago. They wouldn't have been able to last until now. He had kept Davis alive so that they could use the Netherworld White Tiger. I didn't want to kill anyone. Since you said so, I'll spare Zhu Zhuyun this time. As for Davis, he can only be crippled, Lu Yuan said. Thank you, Abuchi, Zhu Zhuqing said. Why are you thanking me? We're one now. Lu Yuan shook his head and said. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's face turned red. Indeed, they were already husband and wife and were already one. There was no need to be so polite. While Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuyun were still talking, black and white circulated not far away. Davis and Zhu Zhuyun fused together and turned into a huge tiger more than 10 meters long. It was the martial soul fusion skill that belonged to the Sionra Empire's imperial family and the Zhu family, the Netherworld White Tiger. Die. A mixed male and female voice rang out from the Netherworld White Tiger. Its huge tiger paw directly slapped towards Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuyun. This wasn't the same as before. The Netherworld White Tiger's paw contained a huge amount of power. Even a Soul King would find it difficult to block this attack. The power of this attack was gradually approaching the threshold of a Soul Emperor. Zhuqing, back off. With a push of his right hand, Lu Yuan pushed Zhu Zhuqing's body away. His body shook, and an explosion sounded in the air. Netherworld White Tiger, is it? I've been waiting for a long time. With a punch, the air seemed to explode, and an explosion sounded. Lu Yuan's fist directly collided with the huge tiger paw. Just when everyone thought that Lu Yuan would be flattened, the battle situation was far beyond their expectations. Lu Yuan's body didn't move at all, but the huge Netherworld White Tiger was directly sent flying, and a wail sounded in the air. It's not over yet. Come back. Lu Yuan's figure moved forward and pulled the huge Netherworld White Tiger's tail. The muscles on his arms bulged, and an endless amount of power surged out. The Netherworld White Tiger's huge body was directly smashed into the stage. Boom. With an explosion, the Netherworld White Tiger's huge body was directly smashed into the stage. Under this huge force, almost a third of the stage was destroyed. One had to know that this was the Martial Soul Palace's reinforced stage. Even if a Soul Emperor made a move, they wouldn't be able to destroy it, but Lu Yuan had done it. Just by swinging it down, a third of the entire stage had collapsed. This strength was simply terrifying. Chapter 663. Fuck, is he still human? Hua Wushuang couldn't help but cry out in surprise when she saw the huge Netherworld White Tiger being smashed into the stage by Lu Yuan's tail. Even a third of the stage had been destroyed. How much strength did Lu Yuan use to smash the Netherworld White Tiger? It's indeed a bit abnormal. If I remember correctly, this stage can withstand the attack of a Soul Emperor without being damaged. Shui Bing'er's eyes were filled with shock. Lu Yuan's move had also shocked her. I feel that Lu Yuan is very violent today. It seems like there's a deep grudge between them, Fire Dance said softly. I think so too. Aside from those who like to provoke him, the Prince Charming rarely goes too far. So I think that these people must have some grudge with him, Shui Yuer said. I don't care if they have any grudges or not. I'm just glad that he wasn't serious when he fought with us. Otherwise, we would have been seriously injured if we didn't die. We don't have a soul fusion skill. Hua Wushuang said with a trace of lingering fear in his voice. If Lu Yuan hadn't shown mercy during the competition and had acted like today, then all the students of the Blazing Fire Academy would have been lying on the ground like corpses. Indeed, your luck is very good. Shui Yuer nodded in agreement. Today's Prince Charming is very violent, but is still as handsome as ever. Shui Yuer said. Her tone changed as she revealed a love-struck expression. Shui Bing'er couldn't help but shake her head. Her sister couldn't be serious for more than 3 seconds. Creak. Seeing the Netherworld White Tiger being smashed into the stage by Lu Yuan, Dai Mubai couldn't help but clench his fists in the corner of the spectator area. The Netherworld White Tiger was a famous soul fusion skill of the Star Luo Imperial family. When used by 2 high-stage soul ancestors, its power was close to that of a soul emperor. But even so, it was like a toy in Lu Yuan's hands. It couldn't fight back at all. More importantly, the other party didn't use his martial soul. A soul master without a martial soul was completely different from a soul master who had a martial soul. A martial soul's boost to a soul master was simply unimaginable. This was especially true for a martial soul like the Golden Dragon, which was a top-notch martial soul. It was extremely helpful to Lu Yuan. How can he be so strong? Dai Mubai said through gritted teeth. Yu Tianheng also had an ugly expression. He was at rank 48. Even if he took the wrong path, he could only fight against ordinary soul kings. Against Lu Yuan, who treated the Netherworld White Tiger like a toy, his end wasn't much better than before. They had clearly put in so much effort, but why were they still as powerless in front of him as they had in the past? Thinking of this, Yu Tianheng's heart was filled with anger. A black light flashed in his eyes. Tianheng, be careful. Don't use this power unless it's the last resort. Seeing the dark light in Yu Tianheng's eyes, Tang San grabbed Yu Tianheng's arm and spoke with a serious tone. You're right. I was blinded by my anger. Yu Tianheng immediately regained his clarity after being grabbed by Tang San. If the power in his body was exposed too early, it would not have much of an effect when facing Lu Yuan. This time, they were prepared to consign Lu Yuan to eternal damnation. Little San, what do you think? Yu Tianheng asked softly as he pointed at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's strength was beyond their expectations. According to Lu Yuan's current performance, his true fighting strength might be that of a high-level soul sage. If we want to win, we still have to rely on the 7-person fusion technique. Although we've learned it now, we're still not very familiar with it. We have to practice it a few more times when we go back, Tang San said. It had to be said that Lu Yuan had given him a huge shock today. He didn't expect Lu Yuan's strength to reach such a level in just 2 years. If he didn't use his martial soul, would he be able to deal with the Netherworld White Tiger? The answer was unknown, but Lu Yuan could. Furthermore, he could easily beat the Netherworld White Tiger. This made Tang San feel a sense of urgency. He cultivated twin martial souls and the Clear Sky Sect's secret techniques. However, he still couldn't catch up to Lu Yuan in terms of raw strength. Tang San felt a little defeated. More importantly, he couldn't add any more soul rings to his Clear Sky Hammer. Otherwise, he would explode and die. In this case, he could only cultivate the dark blue-silver grass. However, the dark blue-silver grass couldn't be compared to the Golden Dragon. I originally wanted to rely on my teacher to obtain the secret of twin martial souls, but I didn't expect him to be so useless. When he said that, he even patted his chest and promised that his first love, the current pope, would tell him the secret of twin martial souls. In the end, not only did he not obtain the secret of twin martial souls, but he was also burned into a sexless person. I can't rely on my teacher. It seems like I have to join those people. I can only hope that what they said is true. They can really solve the problem of my twin martial souls. Tang San thought to himself. Boom. With another loud bang, the hell-white tiger's gigantic body was once again thrown into the arena by Lu Yuan. Half of the arena, which was originally 2/3 of the arena, collapsed, leaving behind only 1/3 of its original size. He pulled the tiger's huge tail and threw it into the air. The netherworld white tiger's huge body was directly thrown into the air. After being hit twice in a row, the netherworld white tiger disintegrated in mid-air and turned into two figures. They were Davis and Zhu Zhuyun. The dignified netherworld white tiger was actually smashed into pieces by Lu Yuan twice. Seeing the two people thrown into the air, Lu Yuan's figure flashed and directly appeared in front of Davis. He kicked Davis's lower abdomen and directly destroyed his dantian. With this kick, Davis's soul power was completely gone. The first prince of the Sionra Empire could only be a cripple from now on. Since he said that he would destroy Davis, he would definitely do it. Wah! After being kicked in the dantian by Lu Yuan, Davis immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with disbelief. He didn't expect that Lu Yuan would dare to treat him, the first prince of the Sionra Empire, like this. He opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but in the end, he couldn't say anything and fainted. He was already seriously injured. With this blow, although his life wasn't in danger, he would have to lie in bed for at least a few months. As for Zhu Zhuyun, Lu Yuan didn't care about her and let her body fall to the ground. Since he promised Zhu Zhuqing to spare her sister's life, Lu Yuan would naturally do it. Davis and Zhu Zhuyun both fell below the arena. Immediately, the teacher in charge of the Sionra Empire's Royal Academy hurried forward to check on them. Chapter 664. Your Highness. Your Highness. Several teachers from the Sionra Empire rushed forward to check on them as their bodies landed heavily on the ground. After all, they were the Star Luo Empire's first prince and his wife. If anything happened to them, the teachers would be in deep trouble. The Sionra Empire wasn't like the Heaven Do Empire. The Sionra Empire's rules were extremely cruel. Even the descendants of the imperial family had to kill each other every generation in order to ascend to the throne. The Sionra Empire was even harsher towards its subjects. After all, the Sionra Empire had always pursued an iron-blooded policy. The first prince and his wife have only fainted. Their lives aren't in danger. However, one of the teachers said after checking on their injuries, "It's good that their lives aren't in danger." The teacher heaved a sigh of relief. However, he immediately sensed something and asked, "However what?" However, the soul power in the first prince's body is rapidly dissipating. Right now, his soul power has fallen to the level of a soul ancestor. At this rate, the first prince's soul power will dissipate completely in less than half an hour. When that happens, the first prince will probably become a cripple. What did you say? The teacher couldn't help but shout when he heard this. His face was filled with shock and anger. The first prince had actually been crippled while he was leading the team. When he returned, the emperor would definitely skin him alive and tear his bones apart. The teacher couldn't help but tremble when he thought of this. Cold sweat instantly covered his back. No, I can't go back like this. If I go back like this, I'll definitely die. Unless I can bring the person who did this to me back, I might be able to keep my life. The teacher looked in Lu Yuan's direction as a fierce look flashed across his eyes. According to the rules of the tournament, as long as the opponent wasn't killed or didn't surrender when the opponent was attacked, it was still within the rules even if the opponent was crippled. The teacher leading the team knew this as well. Therefore, it was not advisable to rely on the rules of the competition to defeat Lu Yuan. Moreover, they were currently in the Martial Soul Palace. The Martial Soul Palace was at odds with the Sionra Empire. Even if they filed a lawsuit, the Martial Soul Palace might not take it seriously. Therefore, he could only do it himself. As for whether or not he would fail, this teacher wasn't worried about that at all. This was because he was very powerful. He was a rank 81 Soul Douluo. In fact, he was one of the 3 vice principals of the Imperial Star Luo Academy. As for the dean, it was naturally the Star Luo Emperor, Dai Tianfeng. He wanted to make a move, but when he saw the guardian knights around him, he suppressed the killing intent in his heart. This was the Martial Soul Palace's territory. Even he didn't dare to make a move on a team without a proper reason. It would be a provocation to the Martial Soul Palace. As a rank 81 Soul Douluo, he was afraid that he would be killed by the Martial Soul Palace's elders on the spot. He didn't know the ins and outs of the Heavenly Star Academy, so he naturally wasn't afraid of Lu Yuan. However, he couldn't help but be afraid of the Martial Soul Palace. After thinking for a moment, the vice principal of the Imperial Star Luo Academy said, "You guys take the eldest prince and the others back first. Find a healing soul master to treat them." "What about you, vice principal?" "Vice principal?" A teacher beside him asked. "I'll stay. There are some things I need to do," the vice principal said. "Yes, vice principal." The teacher nodded. Then, he and a few other teachers carried Davis and Zhu Zhuyun away. As for the other injured students, they couldn't care less. They just let them lie down. It was more important to take care of Davis and Zhu Zhuyun first. It had to be said that sometimes, the world was so cruel. Some people were abandoned just like that. On the other side, the match was over. Lu Yuan pulled Zhu Zhuqing's small hand and walked down from the other side of the stage. Now that 2/3 of the arena had been destroyed by Lu Yuan, there was no way it could continue the competition. It would take at least a day to rebuild the arena. Therefore, the 3rd round of the competition could be said to be suspended here. Since the start of the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament, this was the first time that the tournament had been suspended due to the destruction of the stage. Therefore, after the host announced the suspension, the audience looked at Lu Yuan with a strange expression. He really was a freak. Would it be okay to tear down the arena? They couldn't help but think of the confrontation between the Heaven Do Imperial Academy and Lu Yuan in the morning. It was no wonder that the Heaven Do Imperial Academy's 3 10,000-year four-ringed Soul Kings had been defeated by this person called Lu Yuan. He was simply a monster. Even the golden generation of the Martial Soul Palace would find it difficult to destroy the stage, let alone someone who hadn't even activated his martial soul. If the majority of the audience thought that the Martial Soul Palace team was the strongest contender for the championship, then there was a question mark now. With someone who could destroy the entire stage in 2 moves, would the Martial Soul Palace team be able to obtain the final victory? Everyone had a question mark in their hearts. However, it was also because of this that many of the audience were looking forward to the following matches. What was the point of a one-sided battle? Only a battle between gods like this was worth watching. Wow, Boss Yuan, you're so fierce. You actually destroyed the stage. You're a fierce person. Seeing that Lu Yuan had returned to the waiting area, Ma Hongjun walked up to Lu Yuan and laughed. Sure enough, Boss Yuan was still the same Boss Yuan in his impression. He usually looked refined, with an elegant temperament. No matter how you looked at him, he looked like a fine young master. However, when he fought, he was truly frightening. His fighting style was so violent that it couldn't be any more violent. He actually destroyed the entire stage. He was truly amazing. Fatty, aren't you talking nonsense? Ibuchi is definitely amazing. What's so special about destroying the stage? These are just normal moves. Ning Rongrong said as she walked up to Lu Yuan. She stretched out her jade-like hands and gently caressed Lu Yuan's face. Her eyes were filled with deep concern. You must be tired after that fight. Come, sit down and rest for a while. Ning Rongrong's tone was very gentle, causing the corners of Lu Yuan's mouth to curl up slightly. He revealed a trace of a smile and allowed her to pull him to the waiting area to sit down. Generally speaking, after a match, one would have to leave the waiting area. However, now that the stage had been destroyed, there was no way to continue the match. Therefore, Lu Yuan and the others didn't mind staying a little longer. Chapter 665. After pulling Lu Yuan to sit down, Ning Rongrong's hand flashed, and a clean handkerchief appeared in her hand. She held the handkerchief in her hand and gently wiped Lu Yuan's forehead. You don't have to wipe it, Rongrong. I'm not sweating at all. Lu Yuan grabbed Ning Rongrong's hand and said softly. He didn't put in much effort to beat up a few low-level people like Davis, and it wasn't difficult for him at all. If he had to find a difficulty, it would be that he had to work hard to control his strength. After all, a punch of 150,000 kilograms of strength could directly kill a soul sage if he used all his strength. Even a soul Douluo could be seriously injured or even killed if they were careless. He could really smash the entire arena into pieces with a single blow. He was really afraid that he would use too much strength and kill Davis and the others. If he really killed someone, it would be a really troublesome matter. Okay, drink some water then. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong took out a bottle of water with her left hand and handed it to Lu Yuan. This was a sky blue water cup, and it was very delicate. It was obvious that this was Ning Rongrong's cup. Ning Rongrong's preferences were different from Zhu Zhuqing's. Due to her martial soul, Ning Rongrong liked bright colors, while Zhu Zhuqing was more inclined towards dark colors. Therefore, Zhu Zhuqing's cup was black, while Ning Rongrong's cup was blue. As for Lu Yuan, although his martial soul was the golden dragon, he didn't like gold the most. He liked white and silver the most, followed by gold. It was also because of this that his clothes were basically silver and white. Of course, this wasn't because he looked more handsome and elegant with his white clothes fluttering in the wind. It definitely wasn't. Come, I'll feed you. Ning Rongrong pulled her hand out of Lu Yuan's hand, opened the lid, and put the cup next to Lu Yuan's mouth. Lu Yuan's lips opened slightly, and he drank a big mouthful of water. This water was very sweet. Not only was it simple water, but there were also some special medicinal herbs added to it. If one drank it often, it would be very beneficial to the body. Of course, this was only true for normal soul masters. It was basically useless for Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's current physique was even stronger than that of a typical titled Douluo. He could withstand the impact of a soul ring from a soul ring that was more than 200,000 years old. Only immortal herbs, heavenly treasures, or the higher-end pills recorded in the complete alchemy solution would be effective for his body. Ordinary things would not have any effect on his body. Come, drink another mouthful. This water is specially made. It's very effective in recovering your stamina and strengthening your physique, Ning Rongrong said as she fed him. All right. Hearing Ning Rongrong's words, Lu Yuan couldn't help but take another sip. After all, she had good intentions and he couldn't let her down. TSK, when did Rongrong become so gentle and considerate? Looking at Ning Rongrong's appearance, Ma Hongjun couldn't help but say. In his impression, Ning Rongrong wasn't someone who was easy to deal with back then. Rongrong is only gentle and considerate towards Abuchi. What do you think if it were someone else? Oscar shook his head and said. Ma Hongjun was still too young. Rongrong had indeed changed a lot, but her personality had only become more introverted. It didn't disappear. To others, she was still the little princess of the Seven Treasures glazed sect. It was just that she was less arrogant. Only in front of Lu Yuan would she be so gentle and lovely. No wonder this fatty was still single until now. He couldn't even tell. Oscar complained in his heart. He had completely forgotten that he was also a wolf, a noble lone wolf. All right, no more. Pressing Ning Rongrong's hand down, Lu Yuan gently pinched her tender cheeks and asked, Why are you so obedient and considerate today? Ning Rongrong closed the lid of the cup and said, I'm your girlfriend now. It's my duty to be considerate and take care of you. I don't know how to wash clothes or cook, so this is all I can do. Ning Rongrong's tone was very sincere. It could be heard that these were her heartfelt words. Lu Yuan smiled slightly, gently stroked her long hair, and said, Uncle Ning will also be there to watch the finals in person. At that time, we'll find an opportunity to confess our relationship to him. By the way, we'll settle our affairs for the rest of our lives. Okay. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong's eyes turned red. This was what she had been yearning to hear for 4 years. Her biggest wish in life was to be with Lu Yuan forever, And now this wish could finally be fulfilled. Lu Yuan was a very responsible person. She, Ning Rongrong, didn't like the wrong person. All right, don't cry. This is the waiting area. There are so many people here. It's very embarrassing to cry. Lu Yuan said as he wiped the corner of Ning Rongrong's eyes. Yes, I won't cry. Ning Rongrong nodded and said. Good girl. Lu Yuan rubbed Ning Rongrong's head and said with a smile. After rubbing Ning Rongrong's head for a while, Lu Yuan's gaze shifted slightly. He turned to look at the crowd and said, Everyone, the competition is over. We can go back now. Yes, Captain. Yes, Boss Yuan. Everyone's voices rang out. Then let's go. Lu Yuan smiled and walked in front holding the hands of two little beauties, one on the left and one on the right. Everyone followed behind them. Let's go too. Seeing Lu Yuan and the others leave, Tang San's eyes narrowed slightly and said softly, Yes. Hearing this, Yu Tianheng nodded. On the other hand, Dai Mubai looked at Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing's hands that were tightly held together. His pair of evil eyes were bloodshot. A pair of adulterous couple. I'll teach you a lesson sooner or later. Dai Mubai's heart was filled with resentment towards Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing for giving him a grassland where he could ride horses. He couldn't wait to skin Lu Yuan and break his bones. However, he had completely forgotten that when he was in a drunken stupor, had he ever considered Zhu Zhuqing's existence. Not to mention other things, Lu Yuan had personally seen Dai Mubai hugging the twins. This was an ironclad fact. Therefore, since Dai Mubai had abandoned Zhu Zhuqing and was wandering around, it couldn't be blamed that Zhu Zhuqing was looking for her own happiness. In other words, if Dai Mubai hadn't abandoned Zhu Zhuqing and caused her to fall into endless despair, with Zhu Zhuqing's loyalty, would she have found a second man? It was impossible. Therefore, Dai Mubai could only blame himself for everything. He couldn't blame anyone else. Mubai, let's go. Seeing Dai Mubai in a daze, Tang San couldn't help but say, Yes, got it. Hearing Tang San's words, Dai Mubai came back to his senses. Looking at the backs of Lu Yuan and the others, a trace of haze flashed across his eyes. He would definitely seek revenge from Lu Yuan. He swore that he would do anything for this. Dai Mubai secretly said in his heart. Chapter 666. Holy Light Hotel, 6th floor, restaurant. After the competition, everyone was waiting for their meal here. Boss Yuan, since you don't have a competition tomorrow, can you have a good meal tonight and relax? Ma Hongjun said with a smile as he looked at Lu Yuan. What's wrong, fatty? Are you thinking of eating again? The food and drinks here are so expensive. Do you really think a butcher's money is blown by the wind? Before Lu Yuan could reply, Ning Rongrong's voice rang out. She put her hands on her waist, looking like a housewife. Before she got together with Lu Yuan, she didn't care about these things. But now that she was Lu Yuan's girlfriend, she wouldn't allow anyone to casually take advantage of Lu Yuan. Although Lu Yuan was very rich, she was also very rich. But if someone deliberately wanted to take advantage of Lu Yuan, she wouldn't be happy. This. Hearing Ning Rongrong's words, Ma Hongjun couldn't help but be stunned. After being rebuked by Ning Rongrong, he couldn't say a word. Seeing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. These two guys. However, Ma Hongjun reminded him that since there was no competition tomorrow, he should let these guys have a good meal. After all, they wouldn't be staying in Martial Spirit City for many days. Then let's have a good meal. But be careful. Don't get drunk like last time. Lu Yuan said loudly to everyone. Once he said this, everyone cheered at the same time. They called the waiter and arranged 2 tables of the highest quality banquet. They didn't order much wine to prevent these guys from getting drunk again. Abuchi, even if you have money, you can't spend it so recklessly. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong came to Lu Yuan's side and said, Do you think I'm spending it recklessly? The 5 bottles of wine last time cost more than 5 million gold soul coins, right? It's enough to eat this banquet several times. Looking at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong blushed and said in a low voice, "That time was different. I had something important to do that time, so it was a necessary expense." "Do you mean drugging me?" Lu Yuan whispered into Ning Rongrong's ear. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong's delicate figure froze, and she was unable to speak. Lu Yuan stretched out his hands and pulled Ning Rongrong into his embrace. He kissed Ning Rongrong's forehead and said softly, "It's already the third round of the tournament. There aren't many matches left. We won't be able to stay in Martial Spirit City for long, at most a week. Let them enjoy it for 2 more days. They won't be able to enjoy it when they return. Moreover, Fatty is also one of us now. It's not a big deal to be taken advantage of by one of us. Don't say those words just now. It's easy to hurt people's feelings, understand?" Lu Yuan said with a smile as he gently caressed Ning Rongrong's cheek. "Yes, I understand." Ning Rongrong nodded her head lightly. "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. The two of us confirmed our relationship in a hurry, so we haven't had time to accompany you these days. Since there's no match tomorrow, I'll accompany you around tomorrow and enjoy our time together. What do you think?" Lu Yuan asked. "Really, Abuchi? You want to be alone with me for a day? I'm so happy." Ning Rongrong's tone was tinged with surprise. She was really happy that Lu Yuan was willing to be alone with her for a day. "Of course, I'll accompany you for a day tomorrow. Let's eat now," Lu Yuan said with a smile as he pinched Ning Rongrong's cheek when he saw that the waiter had started to serve the dishes. "Okay." Ning Rongrong nodded slightly. After the meal, room 609, Ma Hongjuan's room. "Boss Yuan, is there something you need?" Ma Hongjun was a little surprised to see that it was Lu Yuan standing at the door. "There is something. Aren't you going to invite me in?" Lu Yuan chuckled softly. "Oh, yes, Boss Yuan, please come in," Ma Hongjun said hurriedly. Lu Yuan chuckled, walked into the room, and sat down on the sofa. "Fatty, your room is quite messy. It's only been a few days, and it's already like this," Lu Yuan said with some surprise as he looked at Ma Hongjuan's messy room. Ma Hongjun has only been here for 3 or 4 days, and the whole room has been messed up by him. It seems that if any woman follows Ma Hongjun in the future, they will be busy. In the original work, Ma Hongjuan's woman was Bai Chunxiang, but now the probability of him and Bai Chunxiang being together is too small. After all, the 4 clans are all his enemies, and the possibility of subduing them is not high. Among them, the probability of subduing the clan of strength and the clan of agility is even smaller. The former is loyal to Tang Hao, and the latter is related to Tang San, so these 2 clans will definitely be exterminated unless they are willing to surrender. However, the possibility of this is too small, almost none. And even if they are willing to surrender, Lu Yuan will have to spend a lot of effort to completely subdue them, and Lu Yuan doesn't have much time to waste now. Therefore, it is basically impossible for Ma Hongjun and Bai Chunxiang to be together, but if there is a chance, he can introduce a new girlfriend to Ma Hongjun. Although this guy likes to visit prostitutes, once he really falls in love, he is also a very loyal person. Of course, the premise is that he dispels his evil fire. Hehe, I'm a man, it's normal for it to be messy. After listening to Lu Yuan's words, Ma Hongjun laughed. Seeing Ma Hongjuan's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but shake his head and smile. Who said that every man's room is messy? His room has always been neat. By the way, Boss Yuan, why are you looking for me? Ma Hongjun smiled and asked Lu Yuan. There are 2 things. The first is to explain to you on behalf of Rong Rong. Don't take what Rong Rong said tonight to heart. She has such a straightforward character, and she has no malicious intentions. She is a girl, and she doesn't understand the friendship between us men. I hope you can understand, Lu Yuan said. No, Boss Yuan, I didn't take it to heart at all, and it is true that I have been taking advantage of you. It is only right for Rong Rong to say a few words. Ma Hongjun quickly waved his hand and said, "It's good that you didn't take it to heart. Next, let's talk about the second thing. Fatty, your evil fire is getting worse, right?" Lu Yuan asked. Hearing that, Ma Hongjuan's face sank. He said, "It really is getting worse and worse these days. Even if I vent it out, it's still very difficult to suppress the evil fire. Teacher said that if I continue cultivating like this, I'll explode and die sooner or later. Sure enough, it is as I expected, so this time I came to give you a gift. I hope it can help you solve your problem." As Lu Yuan spoke, his palm gently waved, and a golden immortal herb that looked like a coxcomb on its head appeared in Lu Yuan's hand. It was the coxcomb phoenix sunflower. Chapter 667. Once this herb appeared, the temperature in the air immediately rose. Ma Hongjun couldn't help but be attracted to it. "Boss Yuan, what's this?" Ma Hongjun was a little surprised as he pointed at the coxcomb phoenix sunflower. Pure yang immortal herb, coxcomb phoenix sunflower. It's most suitable for fire-type soul masters. Fatty, the reason why your evil phoenix has an evil fire problem is that it didn't evolve completely when it mutated from a chicken to a fire phoenix. There were many impurities in your martial soul, which caused all this to happen. This coxcomb phoenix sunflower can help you get rid of the impurities in your martial soul, allowing you to become a true fire phoenix soul master. At the same time, it can greatly increase your soul power. According to my estimations, after consuming the coxcomb phoenix sunflower, your martial soul can be compared to the ice phoenix of the Skywater Academy. It can be ranked at the top of the top-ranked martial souls. The temperature of your flames can be close to ultimate fire. Lu Yuan said softly. Phoenix martial souls were also ranked. Ma Xiaotao's martial soul was ultimate fire, but Ma Hongjuan's wasn't. Ma Xiaotao's martial soul evolved into ultimate fire by coincidence and chance. She first mutated from an evil phoenix to a dark phoenix that possessed ultimate darkness. After that, her power of darkness was removed and she consumed the blazing delicate apricot's blazing rubber. Only then did she evolve into an ultimate fire soul master. Ma Hongjun didn't have such an experience. Strictly speaking, the coxcomb phoenix sunflower didn't have as much energy as the blazing delicate apricot's blazing rubber, which had been nurtured for 10,000 years. After all, the blazing rubber was the essence of an immortal herb. It wasn't something that an ordinary coxcomb phoenix sunflower could compare to. However, an immortal herb was an immortal herb. Ma Hongjun was now rank 35. After absorbing the coxcomb phoenix sunflower, it shouldn't be a problem for him to break through to rank 40. Lu Yuan thought to himself as he passed the coxcomb phoenix sunflower to Ma Hongjun. Ma Hongjun trembled as he received it. He trusted Lu Yuan very much. This was a habit that he had developed in Shrek Academy. He didn't doubt the coxcomb phoenix sunflower's effects at all. Therefore, in the face of this coxcomb phoenix sunflower that could almost save his life and change his fate, how could Ma Hongjun not be excited? At the same time, he was also very touched. Lu Yuan actually gave him such a precious immortal herb. He secretly decided that if the problem of his martial spirit was really solved, then from now on, he would follow Lu Yuan's lead. He would recognize this boss for the rest of his life. Ma Hongjun naturally had a lot of shortcomings, but one thing worth praising was that he was a very loyal person. Since he had decided, then he would not betray Lu Yuan in this life. Just like how he treated Tang San in the original novel, he treated Tang San as the most respectable person. And now, it was the same for Lu Yuan. Seeing Ma Hongjun take the coxcomb phoenix helianthus, Lu Yuan faintly smiled. Since Ma Hongjun followed him, he would not watch Ma Hongjun die. Wasn't it just an immortal herb? Although it was precious, the truth was that he still had 5, 6, or 7 of them. After all, the Icefire Yin-Yang well was huge, so immortal herbs were naturally indispensable. Giving one to Ma Hongjun was not a big deal. I've already given you the coxcomb phoenix helianthus. You should absorb it as soon as possible. The way to eat it is very simple. Just chew and swallow it, then sit down and meditate to absorb your soul power. I have to make a trip to Oscar's place now, so I'll take my leave first, Lu Yuan said. Seeing this, Ma Hongjun hurriedly said, Boss Yuan, take care. Hearing this, Lu Yuan faintly smiled, turned around, and walked out of the room. He walked towards room 6111 next door. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Abuchi. Oscar opened the door and saw Lu Yuan in front of the door. He couldn't help but be slightly stunned as he called out softly. I have some matters to discuss with you, Lu Yuan said. Oh, then quickly come in. Oscar extended his hand and said. Lu Yuan nodded and walked in. There's something I want to give you. Lu Yuan said softly. A light flashed in his hand, and a white jade box appeared in Lu Yuan's hand. Lu Yuan handed it to Oscar. This is. Oscar took the jade box and asked curiously. You'll know when you open it, Lu Yuan said. Oscar nodded and opened the white jade box. Inside was a snow-white, sparkling 8-petaled orchid. The orchid lay beautifully in the white jade box, giving people a feeling of nobility. As if he saw the doubt on Oscar's face, Lu Yuan smiled and said, This is an immortal herb, the 8-petaled immortal orchid. Its quality is gentle and mellow, and it's most suitable for auxiliary-type soul masters like you. It's easier to absorb. I estimate that after absorbing it, your soul power will reach the level of a soul ancestor. Abuchi, this thing is too precious. I can't take it. Leave it for Rongrong and the others, Oscar said and was about to hand the white jade box back. However, he was stopped by Lu Yuan. Take it. Rongrong and the others have already consumed it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have reached the level of a soul ancestor. This 8-petaled immortal orchid is specially left for you. We're partners, and it's just an immortal herb. You don't have to be so polite with me, Lu Yuan said. All right then. Oscar could only accept it after hearing Lu Yuan's words. Oh right, there's no requirement to eat this thing. You can eat the petals first, then the stamen. Take your time to absorb it. I'll take my leave first. Lu Yuan said as he stood up and walked towards the door. Abuchi, wait. Oscar suddenly called out to Lu Yuan. What's wrong? Lu Yuan looked at Oscar with some confusion. Abuchi, do you have any grudges with Mubai and Tang-san? Oscar asked. We do have some grudges, but this is our personal grudge. It has nothing to do with you and Fatty, so you don't have to worry about it. Furthermore, Dai Mubai and Tang-san are no longer the same as before. Therefore, it's best if you and Fatty don't come into contact with them if you can. Otherwise, I'm worried that you'll be in danger, Lu Yuan said. They're no longer the same as before. Abuchi, what do you mean by that? Oscar asked doubtfully after hearing Lu Yuan's words. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and asked, Do you think that Tang-san's speed of becoming a Soul King from rank 29 in a mere 2 years is something that a normal person can do? Abuchi, do you mean that Tang-san used improper methods to increase his soul power? Oscar asked. Haha, you'll know when the time comes. You just have to know that Dai Mubai and Tang-san and I are in a life-and-death situation. I don't expect you to stand on my side. I just hope that you don't interfere because this matter has nothing to do with you. Lu Yuan said softly. Chapter 668. Indeed, in Lu Yuan's heart, he didn't want to drag other people from Shrek into his grudge with Dai Mubai and Tang-san. If it was someone who had nothing to do with him, he would just kill whoever dared to help Tang-san. But Oscar and the others were still friends with Lu Yuan, and he didn't have many real friends in his life, so Lu Yuan still cared about these friends. Qin Sheng, Ling Wei, and the others were more like subordinates, not friends. It was difficult for superiors and inferiors to be friends, so he invited everyone from Shrek to join the Heavenly Star Academy instead of the Dragon King Palace. Although it was said that both of them belonged to him, one was just an academy, while the other was a powerful force. If he joined the academy as a teacher or a student, there wouldn't be much of an obstacle between them, and they could still get along as equals. But if they joined the Dragon King Palace, Lu Yuan would be their immediate superior, and it would be difficult to be friends. Oscar was also a person who valued friendship, and Lu Yuan knew this. Tang-san was fine, they didn't have any friendship, after all, they had only been together for a short time, but for Dai Mubai, Oscar still had some friendship with him. So from Oscar's point of view, he didn't want him to fall out with Dai Mubai, and Lu Yuan could understand. Oscar was actually not a bad person, on the contrary, he was a very kind person. However, his entanglement with Dai Mubai was not something that Oscar could predict. No matter how he looked at it, he and Dai Mubai were irreconcilable enemies. Both of them wanted to kill each other, but Lu Yuan had enough strength to do so, while Dai Mubai could only stretch out his neck and wait to be killed. That was why he said that to Oscar. But he wasn't worried. Oscar might not help him deal with Dai Mubai, but he definitely wouldn't help Dai Mubai deal with him. After all, when they were in Shrek Academy, his relationship with Oscar was much better than Oscar's relationship with Dai Mubai. Is there really no room for reconciliation? Oscar asked unwillingly. It has already reached the point where it won't stop until one of us dies. Lu Yuan sighed, patted Oscar's shoulder, and said, "You absorb it first, I'm going back." After saying that, he walked towards the door. "Abuchi." Oscar's voice rang out. Lu Yuan's footsteps paused slightly. "I won't help them deal with you," Oscar said softly. Between Dai Mubai and Lu Yuan, he had made his choice. He chose to stand on Lu Yuan's side, but he would not attack Dai Mubai and the others. Out of friendship, this was the best solution Oscar could think of. He wasn't like Ma Hongjun. If Ma Hongjun had to choose, he would definitely choose Lu Yuan's camp. His relationship with Dai Mubai wasn't that good, and there was no need to talk about Tang San. Other than meeting him a few times, they didn't have any friendship at all. Therefore, Ma Hongjun would not hesitate to help Lu Yuan attack them. Hearing Oscar's words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly and walked out of room 601. No matter what Oscar and Ma Hongjun chose, as long as they didn't help Dai Mubai deal with him, it was enough for him. Room 601, Lu Yuan's room. Pushing open the door, Lu Yuan walked in. "You gave them all the immortal herbs." Zhu Zhuqing sat on the sofa and looked at Lu Yuan, who walked in. Her voice was a little cold. "I gave them all, they should be absorbing it now." Lu Yuan walked to Zhu Zhuqing's side and sat down as he said softly, "You seem to be very happy, you seem to be very relaxed." Looking at Lu Yuan's slightly curved lips, Zhu Zhuqing said curiously. Today, Lu Yuan seemed a little different. "Yeah, how can I not be relaxed when I'm with you?" Lu Yuan said with a smile as he buried his head in Zhu Zhuqing's hair and sniffed her fragrance. "You're talking nonsense again." Zhu Zhuqing rolled her eyes and said helplessly. "Hee hee." Hearing this, Lu Yuan laughed, took Zhu Zhuqing into his arms and said, "I'm going shopping with Rong Rong tomorrow, so I understand that you have to stay in the hotel alone." I know, go." Zhu Zhuqing waved her hand as if she didn't care. "If you're jealous, just say it. Don't pretend in front of me," Lu Yuan said with a smile as he pinched Zhu Zhuqing's cheek. "Who's pretending? I'm not jealous, but don't think about running away tonight," Zhu Zhuqing said as she flipped Lu Yuan over and pressed him under her body. "Stop fooling around, you're still young. Last time was just an accident." Seeing Zhu Zhuqing like this, how could Lu Yuan not know what she was thinking, and immediately expressed his refusal. "I don't care so much. Anyway, you've already touched me, what's wrong with doing it again?" Zhu Zhuqing said. Hearing this, Lu Yuan was stunned and looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a strange expression. He didn't expect that under Zhu Zhuqing's cold appearance, there was such a fiery heart. She was shy in front of others, but when she was alone with him, she was really bold. However, looking at Zhu Zhuqing's determined look, the resistance in his heart slowly faded. Well, to put it bluntly, he was aroused. Men were all lustful, and he, Lu Yuan, was even more outstanding among them. "You asked for it," Lu Yuan licked his lips and said softly. "I asked for it, then why are you still in a daze?" "It's not early anymore," Zhu Zhuqing bit her red lips and said softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's heart warmed. He carried Zhu Zhuqing by the waist and was about to walk in the direction of the bed. At this moment, there was a sudden knock on the door. Suddenly, the atmosphere that had just been brewing suddenly disappeared. "Who is it?" Lu Yuan put Zhu Zhuqing down and walked towards the door. When he opened the door, it turned out to be Ning Rongrong, and this girl was hugging a pillow in her hands. "Rongrong, what are you doing?" Looking at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask. I can't sleep alone, I want to sleep with you. Ning Rongrong bit her red lips and said softly. I see, then come in. With that, Lu Yuan moved aside. Ning Rongrong walked directly into the room. After Ning Rongrong came in, Lu Yuan closed the door and followed behind Ning Rongrong. Seeing Ning Rongrong come in, Zhu Zhuqing was stunned at first, then she looked at Lu Yuan with a trace of bitterness in her eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yuan spread out his hands. Ning Rongrong's sudden visit actually made him feel a little helpless. After being disturbed by Ning Rongrong, some things definitely couldn't be done. After all, Zhu Zhuqing was very open in front of him, but still very shy in front of others. Chapter 669. Did I disturb you? Ning Rongrong couldn't help but ask softly when she noticed that the atmosphere was a little wrong. No, don't think too much. Lu Yuan gently rubbed Ning Rongrong's head and gave Zhu Zhuqing a look. Suddenly, Zhu Zhuqing, who had a tacit understanding with him, put away all the resentment in her eyes. Zhu Zhuqing must be a little lost when the good thing was interrupted, but after all, there is still a long way to go, and Zhu Zhuqing is a reasonable person. She doesn't mean to blame Ning Rongrong. Lu Yuan is the same. Although the anger in his heart has been ignited, he is now in a sober state. This little thing, there is no problem in suppressing it. It is not the same as last time, where the bloodline is in a riot. And Ning Rongrong, this girl, is so attached to him, he is very happy in his heart. Holding Ning Rongrong's hand, he walked to the bed and helped her put the pillow. The bed in this suite is actually very big. It doesn't seem crowded at all when 3 people sleep. Instead, there is still a lot of space. Have you taken a bath? Looking at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan asked. Yes, I have. Ning Rongrong nodded and said. Is that so? Then you and Zhuqing go to sleep first, I will take a bath first. Lu Yuan said. No, I want to wait for you to come back before I sleep. Ning Rongrong said. Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing, and Zhu Zhuqing also nodded, indicating that she was the same as Ning Rongrong. Okay then. Seeing that both women had the same opinion, Lu Yuan no longer forced them. He picked up some clothes and walked into the bathroom inside the room. After a while, the sound of running water sounded. When he finished washing and came out, the 2 women had already gone to bed and warmed the quilt. The power of the bloodline ran and evaporated the water in the hair. After a while, Lu Yuan's long black hair became dry again. With his long hair casually draped over his shoulders, Lu Yuan climbed into the bed and sat between the 2 women. On the left is Zhu Zhuqing, on the right is Ning Rongrong. Needless to say, Lu Yuan's life is quite beautiful. It's getting late, let's sleep, we have to get up early tomorrow. Lu Yuan said. He was referring to the shopping trip with Ning Rongrong tomorrow. Hearing this, the 2 women nodded lightly. Seeing this, Lu Yuan gently waved his hand, and a gentle force spread out. Suddenly, the light in the room disappeared. Lu Yuan quickly fell asleep with the 2 beauties in his arms. It was a quiet night. The next morning, as the sun rose, Lu Yuan and the other 2 woke up. Lu Yuan's polychoria slightly opened, and a bright light was reflected in his eyes. Although there were curtains blocking his view, it was already past 8 o'clock in the morning, and the sunlight had already passed through the curtains, illuminating the room. Lu Yuan held Ning Rongrong in his arms. He couldn't help it. This girl didn't sleep well. She always liked to kick the quilt when she fell asleep, so Lu Yuan simply held her in his arms. This way, she couldn't touch him anymore. He remembered how he had dealt with Hulena in the past. It had to be said that it was quite effective. On the other hand, Zhu Zhuqing hugged him from behind. Her proud fullness brought about an indescribable pressure. But you don't say, it's really quite comfortable. You're all awake. Without even looking, Lu Yuan could sense the changes in the 2 women's aura and knew that they had woken up. As long as he did not fall into a state of self-reflection, Lu Yuan's perception was still very sensitive under normal circumstances. 2 pleasant female voices sounded almost at the same time. Get up if you're awake. We still have to go shopping later. Zhuqing, You can sleep a little longer. Lu Yuan's voice sounded. The former was for Ning Rongrong, while the latter was naturally for Zhu Zhuqing. No, I'll get up too. After I wake up, I still have to help you take care of Qiu. If this girl knows that you and Rongrong aren't around, she'll definitely throw a tantrum again. Zhu Zhuqing said. You're right. Apart from me, Qiu is the closest to Rongrong. Of course, she's most afraid of you. However, you're clearly very good to her. Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh as he spoke. That's because Zhuqing seems more cold and doesn't like to talk. She's not like me, who likes to throw tantrums. She gets along well with Qiu. Ning Rongrong said coquettishly when she heard Lu Yuan's words. You like to throw tantrums, and you're very proud. Lu Yuan pinched Ning Rongrong's cheeks and said with a smile. No, I'm not proud. Aren't I very obedient now? I'm not throwing tantrums anymore. Ning Rongrong pouted and looked as if she had been wronged. You're indeed very obedient. However, you don't have to deliberately accommodate me. It's good that you have your own personality. It's fine as long as you don't throw tantrums. Lu Yuan said softly. Oh. Ning Rongrong nodded when she heard this. A beautiful smile blossomed on her face. Very soon, after they tidied themselves up, Lu Yuan and the rest had breakfast. Lu Yuan held Ning Rongrong's hand and left the house. He was still very familiar with Martial Spirit City. Since he had promised to accompany Ning Rongrong on a tour, Lu Yuan would bring Ning Rongrong to some interesting places to have fun. Abuchi, why do I feel that you're very familiar with Martial Spirit City? Have you been here before? Ning Rongrong's eyes were filled with a trace of doubt as she held Lu Yuan's hand. She felt that Lu Yuan was very familiar with all the interesting places here. This degree of familiarity did not seem like it was his first time here. I haven't been here before. However, this time, before you came here, I walked around half of Martial Spirit City. I have an eidetic memory. Naturally, I remember the places that I've been to. Lu Yuan smiled slightly. Why was he so familiar with this place? Of course, it was because he had been shopping with Helena many times. How could he not know where the fun places were? However, he could not tell Ning Rongrong these things. At least not now. In the future, when the Martial Spirit Palace's plan was completed, he would tell Ning Rongrong all these things. Actually, it did not feel good to hide things from his woman. Therefore, he would not hide anything from Chihiro Snow and the rest except for the questions about the system. Oh, I see. After listening to Lu Yuan's explanation, Ning Rongrong nodded. However, she had forgotten that Abuchi had an eidetic memory. Come, Abuchi. Eat this. It's delicious. As she spoke, Ning Rongrong handed a string of red fruits wrapped in white sugar to Lu Yuan's mouth. A small fruit had already been eaten. It was obvious that Ning Rongrong had eaten it. Lu Yuan smiled slightly. Just as he was about to lean in, he suddenly frowned. He sensed an unusual aura. There are always people who like to court death, Lu Yuan said coldly in his heart. Chapter 670. What's wrong, Abuchi? You don't like this? Seeing Lu Yuan frown, Ning Rongrong thought that Lu Yuan didn't like it and immediately asked. No, I just thought of something. Hearing Ning Rongrong's words, Lu Yuan's brows relaxed and he chuckled softly. He didn't tell Ning Rongrong that he found someone following them. Ning Rongrong was someone who couldn't hide things. If she knew that someone was following them, she would definitely give herself away. It wouldn't be good if that person was scared away. Lu Yuan still wanted to eliminate the person behind this. But where could this person be? How dare he tail me in Martial Spirit City? How capable? Doesn't he know that Bibidon has spies all over Martial Spirit City? Maybe this person's information has already been sent to Bibidon. The fate that awaited him definitely wouldn't be so good. Of course, Lu Yuan wouldn't let Bibidon do it. He could deal with such a person by himself. Then quickly try this. I ate one. It's very sweet. Ning Rongrong said with a smile. Hearing this, Lu Yuan didn't hesitate and took a bite. The taste was pretty good. It was sour and sweet. Little girls liked it. For Lu Yuan himself, it could only be said that it was passable. This thing was a little similar to the candid whores in Lu Yuan's impression. How is it? Seeing Lu Yuan eat one, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but ask. Not bad. Lu Yuan said softly. Then eat another. Ning Rongrong said as she handed it over again. No need, you can eat it yourself. Lu Yuan said with a smile. All right then. Seeing that Lu Yuan really didn't want to eat it, Ning Rongrong took it back and ate it with relish. Abuchi, where are we going to play next? Ning Rongrong asked curiously as she ate. Find a place with fewer people. I have a good show to show you. Lu Yuan said with a smile. A good show? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong had some doubts. Did Lu Yuan prepare some surprises for her? Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong was delighted, and the smile on her face increased. It seemed that Abuchi had put in a lot of effort for today. However, it turned out that she was overthinking things. It wasn't easy to find a place with fewer people in the martial spirit city. After all, the martial spirit city was too prosperous. However, Lu Yuan could still find it if he wanted to. After turning left and right, they arrived at a rather ordinary residential area. It was said that the Martial Soul Palace was going to set up a big project here, so the residents had all moved away. Before the project started, very few people would come here. Abuchi, why did you bring me here? Could it be that you want to? As if thinking of a scene, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but blush. She said, Abuchi, it's too sloppy here. After all, it's my first time. Let's find a hotel. When the time comes, I'll let you do whatever you want. Ning Rongrong didn't have any objections to Lu Yuan wanting her. She even wanted to offer her body. However, Lu Yuan didn't touch her before, so she couldn't do anything. Could it be that Lu Yuan likes to do it in the wild? Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong was a little embarrassed. She couldn't accept this place. Hearing Ning Rongrong's words, Lu Yuan was speechless. What was this girl thinking? Was he the kind of person who would mess around regardless of the occasion? What are you thinking in that little head of yours? Am I that thirsty? If I wanted to eat you, I would have eaten you up that night. Why would I keep you until now? Lu Yuan flicked Ning Rongrong's forehead and said with a wry smile. Ah. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong knew that she had misunderstood. Her face blushed and she was a little embarrassed. Then Abuchi, why are you here? Ning Rongrong couldn't help but ask. To get rid of a certain ant that recklessly followed us. Lu Yuan said coldly. TSK, you're worthy of being the captain of the Heavenly Star Academy. Your perception is so sharp. You can actually detect my presence. Lu Yuan's voice had just fallen when a figure suddenly appeared in front of the two. This person appeared without any warning. At that time, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but be shocked. Seeing this, Lu Yuan pulled Ning Rongrong behind him and used his body to block in front of her. Looking at Lu Yuan's imposing back, Ning Rongrong only felt a strong sense of security completely filling her heart. She finally understood why the sect had a rule that the other half of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda must be a battle soul master. It was because this kind of protection from one's partner was the most reassuring. Looking at Lu Yuan in front of her, with his protection, she felt that she wasn't afraid of anything. The sect's rules were indeed reasonable. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Ning Rongrong was thinking. He looked at the old man in front of him and raised his eyebrows slightly. He laughed softly and said, I was wondering who was so bold to actually dare to follow me. So it's you, old fart. How is it? How is your first prince now? You really did cripple the first prince's soul power on purpose. Kid, you're so cruel. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, the old man couldn't help but say angrily, I'm cruel? A royal family that relied on stepping on the blood of their brothers to ascend the throne. A country that will kill anyone who slightly violates the rules. You have the nerve to say that I'm cruel? Davis's hands are stained with the blood of many innocent people. I think you know better than me that he deserved to die. Of course, that's not important. The most important thing is that not only did he and Zhu Zhuyun offend me, But they also bullied my woman, Zhu Qing. I'll never show mercy to people like that. You should be glad that you can't kill in the tournament. Otherwise, both of them would have died. Lu Yuan said plainly, his voice carrying a biting cold killing intent. Haha, very good. I originally wanted to capture you back to the Star Luo Empire and hand you over to the Emperor for punishment. Now, it seems like I'll have to cut you into 8 pieces on the spot. Oh, that's right. The little girl behind you is very pretty. After I kill you, it seems like I'll have another chance to have some fun. The old man chuckled, his voice carrying a trace of evil. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's gaze turned sharp, and his eyes turned completely cold. There was a bone-chilling coldness in them, and a monstrous killing intent exploded from his body. It didn't matter if the old man scolded him, but if he dared to have thoughts about his woman, that was an unforgivable crime. Today, he wouldn't even leave this old man's corpse intact. Come to think of it, Tang Hao's ending back then was more suitable for this old man. Rongrong, close your eyes. I'm going to kill someone. As soon as his voice fell, a golden light was released from under Lu Yuan's feet. It spread out in an instant, enveloping the old man and Ning Rongrong behind him. Chapter 671. The golden light transformed into a golden domain, enveloping the old man and Ning Rongrong within it. This was the innate domain of Lu Yuan's golden dragon martial soul, the golden dragon domain. Is this a domain? The elder's face was filled with astonishment as he sensed the pressure coming from all around him. This young man actually possessed something like an innate domain. His talent was truly astonishing. You are indeed a rare genius. However, you won't be able to escape death today even if you have a domain for crippling the first prince. Although the elder was astonished by the domain, he didn't pay it much heed. So what if Hua Yuhao had a domain? He was a soul Douluo, and the difference between them was simply too great. If he wanted to kill Hua Yuhao, he could do it with the flip of his hand. The domain is only to prevent you from escaping. Since you dared to harbor designs on my woman, I'll make sure you die a horrible death today. As Lu Yuan spoke, golden light flashed in his hand, and his golden dragon spear appeared. This time, the golden dragon spear was different from before. It was no longer dazzling golden. Instead, it had turned blood gold after Lu Yuan injected his soul power into it. This was the result of Lu Yuan injecting his murderous aura into the spear. This time, Lu Yuan wasn't in the mood to continue playing. Right now, his mind was filled with thoughts of killing. The only thing he wanted to do was to kill the old man who had insulted Ning Rongrong. What arrogance! Let's see if you have the ability to do so. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, the elder was so infuriated that he started to laugh. Light flashed from his body, and a streak of black light flashed. A huge scorpion appeared behind him. His body was covered in a layer of black armor that resembled the shell of a scorpion. His 2 arms had turned into scorpion pincers, and a long, black scorpion tail with sharp barbs swayed in the air behind him. Beneath his body, 8 yellow, purple, black, and black soul rings rippled slightly. He was a soul Douluo. Abuchi. A hint of concern appeared in Ning Rongrong's eyes as she looked at Lu Yuan upon discovering that this elderly man was a soul Douluo. She had heard from the sword Douluo that Lu Yuan was comparable to a soul Douluo, but she had never seen Lu Yuan fight a soul Douluo before, so she was very nervous. She was afraid that Lu Yuan would get hurt. Lu Yuan turned to Ning Rongrong and gently said, "Don't worry, Rongrong. It's just a soul Douluo. It'll only take 3 minutes. Close your eyes. The scene might be a little bloody later. If you open your eyes and watch, you might be frightened." "No, I won't close my eyes. I want to help you. My support is very powerful," Ning Rongrong said. Ning Rongrong was right. She was already a rank 46 soul ancestor, and her first 4 soul skills were strength amplification, speed amplification, soul power amplification, and defense amplification. The amplification rate was as high as 50%, and this 50% was applicable to all soul masters, even titled Douluo. This was the heaven-defying ability of the 9 treasures glazed pagoda. When Ning Rongrong became a titled Douluo, her amplification rate was as high as 100%. After all, the 9 treasures glazed pagoda's amplification rate would increase by 10% every time a soul master advanced a rank. What kind of concept was 100% amplification rate? There was only one word to describe it: terrifying. Alright, let's fight together today. You don't have to amplify anything else, just amplify my strength when the time comes. Lu Yuan chuckled as he spoke. Okay. Ning Rongrong nodded when she heard this. Then let's fight. As Lu Yuan spoke, his figure flashed, and his golden dragon spear pierced towards the elderly man with an intense aura. How dare you not unleash your martial soul against me? The elderly man was furious when he saw that Lu Yuan didn't even unleash his martial soul. Was this kid looking down on him? You're just a rank 81 soul Douluo. Are you worthy of me unleashing my martial soul? Lu Yuan chuckled as he thrust his golden dragon spear forward. Millennium space-time. The golden dragon spear instantly unleashed thousands of spear projections before they merged back into one. He unleashed a move from the sea god's 13 halberds. Lu Yuan wasn't in the mood to play with him. He was going to kill him in 3 minutes, and he was going to do it. Dark Scorpion Pincer. The elderly man's 4th soul ring lit up when he saw Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear. A huge scorpion pincer formed on his arms, and he swung it towards Lu Yuan. How dare you show off your 4th soul skill? You really don't know your place. Lu Yuan laughed when he saw that the soul Douluo wanted to use his 4th soul skill to block the millennium spacetime. Did he really think that the sea god's divine skill was useless? Break. The golden dragon spear clashed heavily with the huge scorpion pincer. The sharpness of the golden dragon spear directly pierced through the scorpion pincer. The golden dragon spear was a divine weapon, and its ability to pierce through defenses was top-notch. How could he block it? The scorpion pincer being pierced was equivalent to the elderly man's arm being pierced. He couldn't help but howl in pain. What kind of spear is this? There was a hint of astonishment in the elderly man's voice. His scorpion shell defense, which he was so proud of, was completely useless against this spear. It was like a piece of paper that was torn apart with a single stab. It's a spear that's going to kill you, of course. Lu Yuan waved his golden dragon spear and sent the elderly man flying. Following this, Lu Yuan's body moved, and his golden dragon spear shone with a dense blood-golden light. Never return. This was the most powerful single-target attack of the sea god's 13 halberds. It had the characteristic of overlapping waves, and its attacks came one after another. It was extremely powerful. Lu Yuan had already mastered all 4 of the sea god's halberd techniques that he had obtained in the past, and he even had his own understanding of them. The golden dragon spear left his hand, and a series of dragon roars rang out. It was like a roaring blood-golden dragon that was trying to devour the soul Douluo. The murderous aura that was contained within the spear locked onto the soul Douluo. Oh no! Immense fear rose in the soul Douluo's heart when he saw the golden dragon spear that was charging towards him like a giant dragon. This spear was lethal. Dark Scorpion True Body. His 7th soul ring suddenly shone with black light, and the soul Douluo transformed into a huge dark scorpion that was around 8 meters long. He waved his huge scorpion pincer as he charged towards the golden dragon spear. It wasn't that he didn't want to dodge. However, he couldn't dodge at all when the murderous aura had locked onto him. The only way out was to take it head-on. The blood-golden dragon and the huge dark scorpion collided violently. This time, the soul Douluo's defenses weren't broken. After all, a soul Douluo who had activated his martial soul true body was still very terrifying. Although the golden dragon spear was sharp, there was still a limit to it. Therefore, it wasn't able to break through the soul Douluo's defenses as easily as before. However, just because it wasn't broken now didn't mean that it wouldn't break later. Chapter 672. The golden dragon spear clashed with the huge dark scorpion in mid-air, and terrifying energy fluctuations erupted from the point of collision. One of them was the sea god's never-returning divine skill, while the other was the martial soul true body of a soul Douluo. The offensive power of both of them was beyond the imagination of normal soul masters. "Hold on for me." An elderly voice rang out from within the dark scorpion's body. The huge martial soul true body was burning with black flames, and it was able to withstand the golden dragon spear in an instant. "Haha, I've blocked it. You're dead for sure, kid." The old man chortled with elation as the huge scorpion pincer pressed against the golden dragon spear. This kid was indeed powerful, but without this spear, it was no different from cutting off an arm of his. "Kid, your biggest mistake was to toss this spear out." "This spear is mine now," the old man chortled. "Idiot." Lu Yuan could only respond to the old man's words with the word idiot. Did he really think that never-returning divine skill was only as powerful as the initial attack? If that was the case, how could never-returning divine skill be called the most powerful single-target attack of the sea god's divine skill? That was only the weakest attack of never-returning divine skill. "What did you say?" The old man was enraged by Lu Yuan's words, and before he could finish his sentence, a huge burst of energy was released from the golden dragon spear once again. This burst of energy overlapped with the previous burst of energy, and the dark scorpion's massive body was instantly forced back. "What's going on?" The old man's face was filled with astonishment as he sensed the layers of energy surging from the golden dragon spear. This burst of energy was becoming more and more powerful, and he was struggling to hold on. Bam! The huge dark scorpion that was 8 meters in length was sent flying, and the golden dragon spear pierced through its body. In the face of never-returning divine skills' terrifying overlapping waves and the terrifying sharpness of the golden dragon spear, even a soul Douluo's martial soul true body wouldn't be able to withstand this burst of energy. "Now's the time, Rong Rong." Lu Yuan swept through the air and unleashed his great void swimming dragon. A deafening dragon's roar rang out, and a 5-clawed golden dragon that was completely golden in color spiraled up into the air, clashing directly with the dark scorpion's true body. Bang! 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 The golden dragon was like a rubber ball, knocking the dark scorpion true body back and forth in the air. As Lu Yuan's most powerful self-created soul skill, the great void dragon was unimaginably terrifying. In just a few seconds, the 5-clawed golden dragon that Lu Yuan had transformed into had struck at least 100 times. Each strike was no less powerful than a never-ending wave attack. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the huge dark scorpion true body was directly blown up and returned to its original form. Blood continued to flow from the old man's mouth and nose. With Lu Yuan not holding back at all, he was clearly on his last breath. Lu Yuan's body swayed, and he returned to his human form from the 5-clawed golden dragon. At the same time, the power boost from Ning Rongrong also arrived. "If I say I'll destroy you, then I'll destroy you. Tang, how is your example?" Lu Yuan said as he clenched his right fist and pounced towards the falling figure. Looking at the old man's body in front of him, Lu Yuan directly punched out in front of the old man's horrified eyes. Lu Yuan released all his strength in this punch. Lu Yuan's strength was already at 150,000 kilograms. In addition to the 10% boost from his golden dragon domain and 50% boost from Ning Rongrong, his strength alone was increased by 60%. This meant that he had increased his strength by 72,000 kilograms. In addition to the original 150,000 kilograms, his strength had reached a terrifying 19,000 kilograms. What did 19,000 kilograms mean? This was a strength that no titled Douluo could possess. Even the former exceptional Douluo, the vast sky Douluo, Tang Chen, couldn't possibly possess 19,000 kilograms of strength. What would happen if this attack hit a soul Douluo who had completely lost his defensive ability? Bam! Like a watermelon that had been cracked, the juices were smashed into mush. Under Lu Yuan's attack, this soul Douluo's body was directly blown into a cloud of blood mist. His flesh and bones were directly smashed into mush, and he couldn't be more dead. This was the price he had to pay for insulting Ning Rongrong and trying to lay his hands on her. Seeing this, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but turn around and vomit. Lu Yuan had killed many people before, and he was already used to it. However, this was the first time that Ning Rongrong had seen someone kill someone. How could she stand seeing a living person being smashed into mush? This was also the reason why Lu Yuan had asked her to close her eyes earlier. Lu Yuan landed gently on the ground. His clothes fluttered, but his body was still clean and unstained. Just as he had said, a mere rank 81 soul Douluo wasn't qualified to make him unleash his martial soul. This was because even in his normal state, he could beat an ordinary soul Douluo with the sea god's divine skill and the great void dragon. Rongrong's amplification is still very strong. This strength of 192,000 kilograms is really terrifying. Lu Yuan clenched his fist. He was a little intoxicated by the immense strength that he had just displayed. He was really becoming more and more convinced of the saying that strength could break everything. When one's strength reached a certain level, that kind of power was truly terrifying to the extreme. A soul bone. Lu Yuan looked at the soul bone that was flashing with a dim light as it was sent flying away. He reached out with his hand and grabbed it. At the same time, Lu Yuan also found a soul tool ring, which he put away. A soul Douluo should be quite wealthy. No matter how small a mosquito's leg was, it was still meat. Therefore, Lu Yuan naturally took it. Oh, is this the soul bone of a dark demon scorpion? Lu Yuan said softly as he sized up the soul bone in his hand. This was a right leg bone that came from a dark demon scorpion. However, it wasn't very old. It was just over 10,000 years old. It's quite suitable for Dugu Yang. I'll use it after this competition. I'll keep it first. Lu Yuan said as he put it into his astral ring. Lu Yuan looked at Ning Rongrong, who was vomiting. Just as he was about to take a look, the soul power in his body suddenly surged. Am I going to break through? Lu Yuan was a little surprised as he felt the soul power surging in his body. Is this a double blessing? I just killed a soul Douluo and obtained a soul bone, and now I'm breaking through? Lu Yuan wasn't surprised by his breakthrough. Although he had broken through once on the 8th step of the 9 steps heavenly stairway more than a month ago, it hadn't been long since then. However, one couldn't forget that he had experienced a month of holy flame body tempering. Not only had his physique been strengthened greatly during the holy flame body tempering, but his soul power had also been tempered. Lu Yuan didn't find it strange that he had broken through now. However, he couldn't break through like this. He had to find a safe place. Suppressing the desire to break through, Lu Yuan walked towards Ning Rongrong. Chapter 673. Walking to Ning Rongrong's side and gently patting her back, Lu Yuan asked softly, Rongrong, are you okay? I'm fine. Ning Rongrong opened her mouth, but just as she finished speaking, she couldn't help but vomit again. She had never seen such a bloody scene before. This was an unimaginable shock to her heart. She was really frightened. If it wasn't for Lu Yuan, the person she loved to the bone, who did it, Ning Rongrong would have been scared away on the spot, let alone let him get close to her. Rongrong's experience is still too little. Looking at Ning Rongrong's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh. Compared to Zhu Zhuqing and Chihiro Snow, Ning Rongrong was like a flower in a greenhouse. She was cared for since she was young, and the cruelty and bloodshed she saw were still too little. Zhu Zhuqing had been on the continent for 2 years, wandering between life and death many times, and her hands were stained with many lives. Chihiro Snow didn't need to be mentioned. Among Lu Yuan's women, she was the most ruthless. Except for a few people like Lu Yuan and Sendryu, Chihiro Snow wouldn't show the slightest mercy to others. Even Hulena, under Bibidon's arrangement, had experienced a lot of experience, and her hands were also stained with blood. Not to mention, not long after the competition, she had to go to the capital of massacre. This was a test given by Bibidon. A test to become a saintess. How could it be so easy to become a holy son or saintess? The reason why Lu Yuan passed with a unanimous vote and no one objected was because the 2 big shots, Bibidon and Sendryu, had nodded. The second reason was because Lu Yuan controlled the Dragon King Hall, and the power under him couldn't be underestimated. The third reason was because Lu Yuan's talent was unprecedented. He had 5 rings in 100,000 years, talent domain, and a 14-year-old Soul King. With these three things added together, naturally, no one dared to refute. On the other hand, Hu Lena could not compare to Lu Yuan. If he could obtain the killing god domain, he could shut some people up. But was the death god domain so easy to obtain? There was no need to talk about Hell's Road. With Lu Yuan leading the way, they would be able to pass through it no matter how difficult it was. But what about Hell's slaughterhouse? Lu Yuan would not be able to help her in the arena. For 100 consecutive victories, she would have to kill at least 9 people in each match. In addition to the sneak attacks, she would have to kill at least a few thousand people after 100 matches. Perhaps Hu Lena would be the one who treated human life the most among Lu Yuan's women. In comparison, the current Ning Rongrong was really immature. Although Lu Yuan knew that Ning Rongrong would pass this test sooner or later, he still felt distressed when he saw her suffering. After all, she was his woman. Gently patting Ning Rongrong's back, the white clear qi divine power was slowly injected into Ning Rongrong's body. The clear qi divine power had a very significant effect on recovering the mind and calming the mood. With the infusion of the clear qi divine power, Ning Rongrong's trembling body calmed down, and she stopped vomiting. Although her face was still a little ugly, it was obviously much better than before. Gently holding Ning Rongrong in his arms, he knew that what Ning Rongrong needed most at this time was care and comfort. He also wanted to say a few more words, but now time waits for no one. His breakthrough was imminent, so all he could give was a hug. Golden light flashed under his feet, and Lu Yuan's figure flashed away. What he had to do now was to find a nearby hotel, get a room, settle Ning Rongrong down, and then break through. Lu Yuan was very fast, and soon found a hotel. After getting a room, Lu Yuan walked in directly with Ning Rongrong in his arms. Rongrong. Putting Ning Rongrong on the sofa in the room, Lu Yuan stroked Ning Rongrong's cheek and called softly, "Abuchi, I'm a little scared. Can you not be so bloody when you kill people in the future?" Thinking of the scene just now, Ning Rongrong's eyes still had a trace of fear. Even though the bloody scene was calmed down by the clear qi divine power, it still made her feel some lingering fear. "This time, he insulted you first, so I was so heavy-handed. I won't do it again, I promise you." Looking at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan said softly, "En." Ning Rongrong nodded and gently leaned into Lu Yuan's arms. "Rongrong, I already feel that I'm about to break through, so I won't be able to take care of you in a while. Stay here by yourself and don't run around, understand?" Rubbing Ning Rongrong's head, Lu Yuan said softly, "En, I understand." Ning Rongrong responded softly. Lu Yuan smiled and kissed Ning Rongrong's forehead. After that, he sat on the bed, crossed his legs, closed his eyes, and released the pressure in his body. Immediately, the soul power in his body began to circulate rapidly. Clear Qi Scripture, turn. Lu Yuan used his powerful spiritual power to guide the crazily surging soul power in his body and fiercely attacked the bottleneck of rank 60. Once. Twice. Finally, when Lu Yuan launched the third attack, an almost imperceptible sound rang out. The barrier between rank 59 and rank 60 was completely destroyed by Lu Yuan's powerful energy attack. Immediately, the aura on Lu Yuan's body increased by a few degrees. Looks like it went very smoothly this time. Lu Yuan, who was in the state of inner vision, couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the orderly circulation of the clear qi and soul power in his body. This kind of natural breakthrough was the most comfortable feeling. He didn't need to spend much effort to break through the bottleneck. All the time spent added together didn't even add up to half an hour. Now that I'm at rank 60, I can add another soul ring. If I'm not wrong, old man Qian, oh no, grandfather should have already prepared a god-bestowed soul ring for me. With my current physique, it shouldn't be difficult for me to endure a 200,000-year soul ring. Furthermore, the third round of the competition isn't over yet. The competition venue is still under repair. I should be able to finish absorbing it before the finals. After all, my physique is very strong, and the clear qi scripture's refining speed is very fast. It shouldn't take much time. Lu Yuan thought to himself. With that thought, Lu Yuan withdrew his aura and slowly opened his eyes. He saw Ning Rongrong sitting on the sofa with her jade-like hands supporting her cheeks as she stared at him without blinking. Ning Rongrong's expression looked a little better. It looked like her mood had improved a lot during the time he had spent breaking through. Seeing that Lu Yuan had woken up, Ning Rongrong's beautiful eyes flashed. "You broke through?" "Yes." Lu Yuan nodded and got off the bed. He walked to Ning Rongrong's side and pulled her into his embrace. Then, he lowered his head and sealed her cherry lips. Ning Rongrong was stunned at first, then she took the initiative to respond. "You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.